first strategy that you'll develop, I think, that as soon as one of your players has the ball and that you know that you're close to him, you don't even want passes. You just want to goon for him. So you just want to, tackle opponents as they get close and make sure that you kind of escort that very precious ball to the goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, like, this is the kind of crazy things that we've seen when even us, when we're used to the game and we get to the 2 laps and you have to score, but you get kind of nervous. So there are so many goals that get missed because you lose control. You're panicking. I can't miss this, and then boom, you just do a last second rebound. You're so freaking mad that you know that you can do this.
So let's say you do take a shot and you miss. Is that it? Have you lost your chance to score?
You never lose your chance to score unless the other team picks up the ball. Because yes, the neon lights up and progression starts. But if the other team gets the ball from you, then boom, your progression resets and their progression begins. So it's that kind of cat and mouse game where if you do more and more laps, you can lose it all in 1 second if you get tackled.
That's got to be heartbreaking. Ooh.
It is.
Blue team here is trying to make some bank shots.
Very impressive. The blue team seems to be dominating right now, honestly.
Do. I'm going to need orange to step up, make these games a bit more competitive.
Which is kind of crazy because, if we had to make statistics out of this, orange team seemed to be always winning and the blue team always seems to be at a disadvantage when we're doing dev teams.
Interesting. You heard it here first. Everyone play orange because they're overpowered.
Yeah, there you go. Don't play,
So we're going through here. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing at the top in terms of UI.
So yeah, at the top, of course there's a neon that lights up in the actual game, but the UI on top will also, you see, it just lighted up, boom, it just reset. You will see the progression for your team. So you see right now there's 1/4 of the arena that's lit up for the red, the orange team. They're going to no, they just lost it. See, that's what you can keep up with the top UI. You can keep up with who has the ball right now, so which person, you can have their name.
Yeah.
You can have the progression of the lap, so quarter, and then half, and then 3/4, and then full turn. And you'll see the 3 little lines light up progressively as the players do their laps. And the timer, because a game of Roller Champions lasts 7 minutes.
Okay.
And after 7 minutes, if it's a draw, there will be a sudden death mode. So there are 3 minutes of overtime. And during that time, first team that scores will win the match.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, we're seeing the blue team obviously now. They've made it a quarter of the way around, as is indicated by not only the light in the game. Oh, now they just lost it. The orange team has. And so yeah, it seems it's very fast paced in that sense. Like it could all turn on a dime, really.
Exactly. You have those moments that are like dogfights. Usually where the most action is going on is usually at the starting line, where everyone is kind of trying to start the lap, and there's so much tackling going on because everyone knows that that's the starting point, that's the starting line, and the dogfight can go on for about 20 seconds before finally there's an opening, and when there's an opening, boom, the lap starts and all the players start to disperse to try to either intercept a goal, intercept a pass, do the perfect tackle at the right moment. So there's a lot of depth in that kind of dynamic movement.
Yeah. So I've noticed that the lap starts at the finish line, sort of right where the goal is.
Yeah.
What happens if you're maybe halfway through a lap and the other team intercepts it and they're on the other side of the ring?
They have to go back, and they have to, that's, when you get the ball and how you get to the starting line also changes a lot about the dynamic of the game. If you're halfway through, you can decide to go either clockwise or counterclockwise. The most efficient way to do a lap in Roller Champions is to go counterclockwise, but you can activate each gate any way you want. So you can decide to do the reverse strategy. So start the starting line and go back, because sometimes the opponents don't really expect you to go clockwise. So it can be a strategy of, you think I'm going to do the efficient way, but I'm going to do the inefficient way, and you won't be expecting it. So I probably will have the advantage because of that.
But that's only to just really reset the ring, right? You can't score if you're going clockwise, correct?
You can score. I mean, you just have to activate each of the gates. And maybe we're going to see it now that a team has the ball. Hold on. There's a pillar right now that's flashing.
Overtime.
No, because they're a draw. So 3-3.
So sudden death now.
Sudden death. As you can see, the pillar at the start line, boom, it was flashing. The second pillar is flashing right now, and the other pillar is going to start to flash. Basically, the pillars are what activates the part of the neon where you are.
Okay.
So if Mika would have just turned back, boom, orange
Nice
wins.
game.
I told
That's it.
you, orange always wins.
The orange was the comeback.
No, it's just they did
Good sportsmanship all around too.
They did really well. But yeah, you'll always get that visual cue of the pillar flashing, and so if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise, as soon as you pass the gate, that next level progression will start to load, and it's much more efficient to go counterclockwise because that's the way the pillars light chronologically. But you can definitely decide to go all the way through and say, okay, and which basically means that you need 3 laps in order to light up 1 lap instead of just doing 1 normal lap.
Yeah, interesting. So maybe that strategy would pay off if the team's not expecting it, but it sounds like it's a lot. It's asking a lot.
It's when you know the other team is really hard to beat, and you know that you could gain the advantage for at least a 1 lap, 1 score goal. Like right now in the overtime, you could potentially destabilize them and just do that clockwise turn.
Yeah.
And win the game.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting. If you're going for an unorthodox strategy, maybe that's the way to do it. And we're seeing here the start of a new game here.
Yeah.
We have players coming out of a tunnel.
Yeah. Actually, now
Cool.
if you've noticed, we changed arena. So we were in Acapulco, the small street side kind of arena. Not many bleachers, not many spotlights, not many bells and whistles. But now we're in Mexico City arena, and that's our big arena. So where there are thousands of fans in the bleachers. And really, it's like our superstar arena. So when you gain fans, because in our game you don't gain experience points, you gain fans. So when you complete matches and when you do stuff that's pretty cool in the arena, you'll gain more and more fans. When you have too much, you can't keep playing in the little beachside arena. You have to play in the big stadium, you know.
You can't go blow everyone's minds. You know, pro players showing up at the beach.
Honestly, when you see that arena pop up for the first time, like, you know, you've made it. You're the champion.
I think that's what the trailer did such a good job showing off of, you know, going from that small town, you know, Roller Champions arena to the big Grand Pro stage.
Sure.
So is that sort of the progression path you're looking at? You're trying to win games, earn more followers?
You know, our game is all about that kind of dream of becoming the sports legend. So you will start off in the small arena. You will have your own kind of origin story of, I'm just a player. I started playing this game and I really like it, and I only have one fan. It's my mom in the bleachers, you know, and she cheers me on. But as I get better and better, as I complete matches, I get more and more fans, and I become this like legend, this superstar, you know.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming for.
That's true. But never forget your mom. Shout
Never
out to
forget.
moms.
She will always be there, you know. But at some point, there's going to be more people around mom.
Yeah. Everyone should call their moms. Everyone do that now. But actually, keep watching this.
Yes.
But,
call her as you watch.
yes. And tell her to play Roller Champions.
There you go.
So as we're going now, obviously again, Orange jumped out to the lead because they're you know the best.
You know,
team.
they're orange.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about the mechanics we're seeing here. I'm noticing people sort of using the terrain of the arena to their advantage to build up momentum.
Oh yeah, you know, pumping mechanic. What we see when they bend their knees and they start picking up speed is something that you do when you're very high up and that you want to pick up speed, and you have to leave the trigger as soon as you start going up because it's going to slow you down. But that technique is what allows, and we saw some of it in Acapulco earlier on, but that's what allows some of the players to jump super high in the arena. And it's a super strategy because you are so hard to catch when you are going extremely fast and you're jumping super high. It's very hard for someone that's trying to get the ball from you or just trying to intercept you to know exactly when they should time their tackle, you know?
Yeah.
So really there's a lot of practice that goes into gaining the most speed and having like the best kind of trajectory to travel the arena.
Absolutely. And I've been seeing every once in a while players will be calling for the ball. Is that them asking for a pass?
Exactly. Well, you know, there are two ways really you can do passes in Roller Champions. You can ask for the ball and your character is going to do like a little move to say, hey, I'm open. Pass the ball to me, and you're going to see it very clearly in the UI.
Yeah.
And if you're the player with the ball, you're going to see your teammate calling for it, and you can just pass the balls with a quick pass that we call. and it's gonna pass the ball to the player that's closest to you. But there's also what we call the old style or the classic pass, which is just you can throw the ball at any time, and you can throw it whichever way you want. So you can either like throw it super far because you see that you're surrounded and you're about to get tackled and none of your teammates are there. But you can also try to do it manually and really just aim perfectly well at your teammate at the other end of the arena. And if you do it well enough, he's gonna catch it. So.
Oh, wow. So if you're passing, will that advance your progress around the lap?
What activates the neon is not the player, it's the ball. So if you do throw, and that's something that we saw yesterday during one of our matches, if you are at the third gate and you're about to light up the final gate and open up the goal, you can actually just aim your shot really well and throw super far, and then the last neon will activate and you will goal right away. You'll score a goal right away.
Oh, wow. Okay, so passing can definitely be advantageous just for advancing the ball. So it sounds like there's quite a few different strategies you can play into scoring here. And you mentioned how the bodyguard technique is kind of an entry-level beginner strategy. What kind of things are you seeing now, like from the dev team, the more advanced strats come out?
The best kind of thing that we see is when a team is perfectly spaced up and that they can pass the ball really efficiently, and the neon just progresses, and the other team can't really catch up because they're perfectly timed, because they're perfectly distanced to one another. And that play of passes in between, when one player is about to get tackled and he passes to his teammate, and then his teammate dodges the person that just tried to tackle him and repasses the ball, and that kind of back and forth is something that is very awesome to see.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be hard to defend.
It is.
Speaking of which, though, can passes be intercepted by the other team?
You can definitely intercept, and by the way, one of the player right now, I think is in the orange team right now, Endore, there you go. Endore is our official dev goalie.
Really?
He is the person that we've seen the most often intercept goals, because you can actually, you see right under the goal, and you can pump up the wall and jump at exactly the right time and intercept the ball as it's about to get into the goal.
That's so cool.
And that makes you the goalie,
Can you go through the goal?
You can go through the goal, but as long as you're trying to intercept, just stick right at the entrance of the goal, jump at exactly the right moment, and you will be able to intercept the goal. And that is very frustrating for the team that's trying to score, but it is so satisfying to see from the team that did the goalie move.
I'm sure. I'm just picturing now a defender and a goal scorer both trying to dive through the hoop, meeting right in the middle.
And it does happen, because you can literally block people with your body, So if you do jump through the goal from the other side while the other player is trying to dunk and jump with the ball to score, you can just stop him in his track and he'll just fall down the goal.
That's so cool. That's amazing. And so players can tackle anybody, right? Not just the ball carrier?
Yeah, for sure, because sometimes you do need to make sure that you clean the way, because if you're doing the bodyguard technique, then you have your two guys protecting you. The other team's going to want to clean the bodyguards before they get to you. So you can tackle at any moment, anytime, as long as you don't have the ball. When you have the ball, your tackle gets replaced by the dodge. You can't tackle anyone with the ball.
Okay.
That would make you pretty much OP.
Probably would.
Yeah.
All right, well then besides the dodge, what sort of techniques do you recommend people employ to avoid being tackled?
Avoid being tackled? Well, the dodge in and of itself is a super interesting mechanic, but what you have to do, and if you press the right controller stick, you will look behind you, and that is something that I advise people to do very often, because there's another mechanic in our game where if you're following someone from behind, you'll gain more speed than that person because you're in their draft. So you will see a little indication of wind passing through you. That's because you're gaining speed because of the draft of the player in front of you. So usually when you're the ball bearer, you are vulnerable because people that follow you from behind will gain speed much faster and they will catch up to you and tackle you. So if you don't look back and you just go to the goal and minding your own business, you will get tackled super quickly. And so really the most important thing, look behind when you see someone, dodge left, dodge right, try to anticipate, where they're trying to get you, and you will dodge them, very well. Dodging is another mechanic that you need to practice in order to make it perfect.
Yeah.
But when you do master it, you're very hard to catch.
Yeah, I had a few dodges when I was playing yesterday that just, make you feel just real good at this game. Like you're almost untouchable.
Exactly. Like oh gosh.
Yeah. And the jump too can be used as a dodge, right?
Of course, if you time your jump well, if your feet are literally over the head of the player that's advancing towards you and is trying to tackle you, he will tackle emptiness. So you can use both the jump and the dodge to make sure that you're a protected ball bearer.
That exact thing happened to me yesterday. I was coming head-to-head up against the ball carrier, and I just thought I was going to level and steal the ball.
Ooh.
They just jumped clear over me. I felt like a total fool. But it was a lesson, Every mistake in World Champions is a lesson to be learned, for sure.
And sometimes, because the jump is most efficient when you have a certain speed, so it really depends on what the situation calls for. Sometimes the dodge is the best situation, and sometimes it's a jump. But you have to dose that and make sure that you're using the right strategy.
Oh, for sure. And so we're seeing, again, overtime.
Yeah, there you go. Well, they're good at this. It's hard for any one team to be dominating the other team.
They are.
There you go.
Well, especially, these are probably, at this phase, the best people in the world at Roller Champions, I would assume.
Do be careful, because since we launched the demo yesterday, we were playing the game because, of course, we were excited to play with actual people.
Oh, yeah.
And we got, mixed results. We got beat a few times.
So you're telling me this game has been available on demo on Uplay for less than 24 hours, and there's already people out there beating the devs?
People are beating the devs. We had about, I think, 40% success rate. People were actually better than us, which is, to us, that's awesome. We're so happy to get beaten.
That's amazing. That's amazing. No, I think hopefully, the community just pulls off insane tricks, insane shots. I want to see all these things clipped out, just pulling off things that we've never seen before, because that's always the fun part, right?
It is. We're super happy to see people already playing. We're super happy to see that they're already getting very good at the game. We can't wait to see, the videos and the clips and all the stuff that's going to come out of the demo.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like such a highlightable game, because it's a sports game, right?
Of course. Yeah. You can probably GIF about anything you do in this game. it's perfectly GIFable.
Yeah. Oh.
A draw.
So we ended with a draw. Wow.
Orange one, draw, and then we'll see.
Okay.
Best of 3,
Wow. Again, good game. Good sportsmanship, though. I like to see that.
Yeah.
It's always important.
See, that's our goalie right now. The guy that's standing up, that's our goalie.
So he had a good game. So
there you go.
It's a lot easier when you're the winner to dap everyone else up, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
No, but Andorra is the perfect team player. Anytime, he's always there for you.
Yeah. Well, I think some of that gameplay was amazing to see, and I think we're watching very, very high-level gameplay, right? When you first jump in, you might not be able to pull off all those jumps, all those bank shots, right?
For sure, but you can already anticipate that you will be able to do it at some point, It's nothing that seems inaccessible. You just have to kind of get to understand the dynamics, and you will do incredible things in the Roller Champions.
Well, it's fun. Thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome to see. Thank you so much to the devs for playing. If you liked what you just saw, be sure to head over to Uplay PC to pick up the Roller Champions demo now. But stay tuned. We're coming back to you with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another nail-biting game of Roller Champions! Start the party, celebrate. I'm sick of nonsense. I want to elevate. Look at him go! Unbelievably fast! Remove the chain! What a tackle! Do it. Give me
Thank you for following Ubisoft.
Wait, is that like the official Ubisoft? Holy sh!
Ubisoft is in here. Ubisoft, hi.
Hey, how's it going, Ubisoft? Good to see you. Oh my god. Check your email, do it.
Is that something I should do? Wait a minute, I'm nervous now.
Check my email.
Shit, my pin down.
What is this? Shut up.
What? What?
What? 现在大声的念出来。
We're inviting you to become a star player to thank you for all of the brilliant streams you provide the Fam Bam and Ubisoft community on Twitch.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Eu estou in shock. We're all here.
Chat, look. Oh my god. Guys, thank you.
Hey, I'm going to Los Angeles.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know that Walker necessarily believes in good and bad. I think it's about, completing the mission. What that entails and what is so necessary is throwing the rules out the window. And that's not something that a Ghost can do. With Walker, he was on the team of Ghosts. They'll always be connected, as you are with any brothers in arms. There's real desire to make them see your point of view. But I think that that just becomes an impossibility, and lines are crossed that he can never sort of go back from. So I think there's a real sense of conflict with him, and I look for that in any character I play. I didn't really know what to expect in this process, but I've loved it. It's like working on a great film with a great filmmaker. It's like you're in great hands, so it's like just do your job, and you're gonna be a part of something really special. Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, you gotta get over the ridiculousness of that fucking suit, man. And that you're doing a scene with somebody who's, got dots all over their face. But, I was surprised that kind of went away pretty quick. One of the big advantages and major differences is when you have all those cameras going, you have the ability to really just go after the one perfect take, because this is only gonna work in one take. If one person drops something, 99% of it could have been perfect, it just doesn't work. There's no hiding, there's no, hey, can we just do this again? You're out there. And there's something great about that. There's something sort of athletic about that I really dig. I come from sports. It's an athletic endeavor to get on stage and carry it for the whole show and be courageous enough to change it up and to trust the moment. And I really dig that. I dig that pressure, and I dig that kind of makes everybody do their best. The folks have really gone out of their way to show us so much of the content that they've already created, so much of the content that serves the story. I deeply appreciate the commitment to authenticity here. The stuff that I'm doing is written by a vet, makes me feel confident in what we're doing, that there's somebody there, there's special forces guys in the room that are right there with us. And yes, it can be things for as sort of like pedestrian and mundane as, how's my footwork look when I'm walking with this certain kind of rifle. We really went into depth with how Walker sort of treats the dog tags of his fellow soldiers and people that he's had to put down, and I think it very much colors the performance. This is not some sort of two-dimensional mustache twirling villain, he's a guy with real purpose and an emotional depth. I don't mean to give you a kumbaya answer, but I'm honored that I get to sort of have a character like that with Walker. You were walking a thin line.
Available October 4th. Pre-order now for guaranteed beta access.
I'm a wolf, raised to be the alpha, but trained to follow. Alas, the beast can't be tamed that easily. This wild territory is the perfect den for my kind. A free world where I can roam and explore with no end. But I came here on the hunt, hidden among sheep, focused on their superficial dreams, moving up the food chain step by step before I dominate them all. With one target always clearly in my sights: to secure the future with technology others developed but were too fearful to deploy. By tooth and claw, I took this island, and by tooth and claw, I will rule it. The wolf knows when a predator nears. Can a ghost take on the lone wolf? Maybe. Tracking, analyzing, stalking, patiently, tirelessly. But there is no place for the weak and the wounded here. We are wolves. Stand by.
Okay.
Standing by. In position.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, and welcome back to Ubisoft Live at E3. I'm Madison. I'm here with Grace from Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Hello.
Thanks for joining me, Grace.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So, can you tell us what we're going to be seeing today from Breakpoint?
Yes, so we are going to be showing you guys the demo that is on the show floor right now. So if you have time to get in line and play it, you can do so yourself. So we're going to be playing through one of the missions in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, where we will be rescuing a Skell engineer called Paul Mandera. So we're going to have our 4 Rockstar demoists take us through and show us how it's done, Ghost style.
Very cool. So apparently there are some new features, there are some new weapons. What can we expect?
Well, hopefully we can show it actually going in the game, because I think that's always a lot more fun. So here we've got our Ghost Lead Nomad. We're taking a look at one of our trademark vistas in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. We've got some props on props technology that really makes the environments that much more immersive and realistic for our players.
Very cool.
So as you can see here, they're going down the terrain, and you see that Nomad here is having maybe a little bit of trouble. He's sliding a little bit. So in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, we're going to have slopes and fatigue. So really the environment, as much as it's going to help you with stuff like prone camo, where you can use it to disguise yourself, you also have to be aware of where you're stepping.
Yeah,
because of
looks a little rocky.
Yes, some terrains are rocky. So this is one of the events that can happen in the world. So you see that we've got a patrol going by here. It looks like our team lead has decided to maybe do a little bit of recon first, which is very smart, because you don't necessarily want to engage right away. So it looks like they're going to go past it and then stay unnoticed by the patrol.
So what can you tell me about the world that we're looking at, Grace?
So we are in the island of Aroa. We've got a lot of different biomes for our players. This is just one of many. So we're gonna have snow, we're gonna have jungle, we're gonna have beaches. This is gonna be one piece of a very large, diverse area that our players can explore, and we think they'll have a ton of fun. So here you can see Vasily, our sniper, is going to get to a new vantage point. He's gonna do some scouting for the rest of the team and maybe spot some of the enemies, which is very good. Good strategy for Ghost Recon is to
all the recon.
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. Appropriately named. And now we're following our Panther Fury. She's a master of infiltration and stealth, so Maybe we'll get to see her do something a little bit more sneaky.
I assume she's got all the fun toys to.
She definitely has a fun toy. She has a smoke bomb that she can drop and disappear. It's very cool.
Very cool.
So it looks like they're sending up a drone to do a little bit more recon here. You can see that you're able to mark your enemies. We've got one there. Ooh, rocket gunner. You're gonna want to get that guy out first before he sees you, or else he can alert everybody. So you can see they're really taking care to make sure that all of the enemies that they see in the camp are known to all of the team members before they split up.
That's great. So how many different kinds of enemies are we looking at?
We'll have a bunch of different archetypes. We're definitely going to have a lot of variety for our players. We definitely want to make sure that when you're doing the scouting and you're looking at them, that you have to sort of think tactically about how you're going to engage them based on what archetype they are. So we have like the heavy, and we've got a big boy drone as well. So our team of ghosts is going to have to watch out for that one. You're not going to want to engage it right away with a bunch of enemies around you. So I think they're probably going to try and eliminate the human enemies first, and then maybe take on the drone.
Yeah, it looks a little dangerous there.
He's heavily armored and got a lot of guns. So they've spotted their target. So they're here to extract Paula Madera. So they've spotted her within the office. So now that they know where to go, I think our team lead is going to do some extra scouting just to make sure they've got the perimeter on lock, and then maybe they'll enter in the compound and see what trouble they can get up to.
They do have a way of finding all the trouble, right?
Well, if they play it stealthy, they might not. You can get in and out. Well, perfect timing for Fury, our Panther. So she is probably the one to go in stealth first, maybe do a little bit of on-the-ground recon. Now we've got our sharpshooter Vasily. He's doing a little bit of overwatch for our Panther, making sure that the rest of the team members are safe. So we see, ooh, nice headshot.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Clearing the path.
Yeah, so you see they've got, each class has a gauge that they fill up by doing certain actions that really accentuate the playstyle. So for example, the sharpshooter, when they get headshots, it'll fill up, and then once they have the gauge full, then they can do something special for their class. And we've got one of our big community requests, which is the breaching kit. So now you can get into some fences, which is very cool for us. So Fury has opened up the way, and now her teammates can follow her, or they can go in a different route if they want to. There's tons of ways to approach every situation.
Okay.
So she's going to want to be careful here, be a little bit quiet. We're back to the team lead Nomad. He's going to go into the building. You can see that they're...
He sort of found his own way in.
Yeah. You got to be careful. They're definitely... Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Yes, this is how it's done.
So he's got the assault technique gauge, right? So how many kills does he need to fill that up?
That's a great question. I don't know the specific answer, but it is not that many, because you're just by playing the class, you're able to fill it up on a regular basis, because we really want you to be able to be rewarded for playing that way.
Taking them right out.
Yes. Well, they're definitely plenty better than me. I ran in there and I died.
Yeah, this is clearly, you need a good strategy here, right? To get in, get out, remain undetected.
Yeah, we've got our pro demoists.
Yeah.
Really show us how it's done.
I'm sure they've played this a couple of times, right?
Yeah, I know.
Sneaking up.
Oh, now you can see our CQCs. We've got new CQCs in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. These are brutal finishers for combat. We'll have different sets based on the weapons that you're choosing, and they are, oh boy.
Yeah,
they look like they hurt.
That was nice and intense, right?
Yes. So he's checking around the perimeter, seeing if there are any other hostiles in the area. You can see that there are some civilians here who work for Skeltec. Ooh, looks like they've got some drones up there. I'm not sure what those do, but they look tough, they look beefy, so maybe watch out for those later.
Probably stay as far away as possible from the time being,
Yeah.
right?
So you can see they're taking their time to carefully go up the stairs and get towards their objective. Since we did the recon on the outside, we know that she's in the office, and they're going to be able to extract her unless something goes horribly wrong. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Got to check the perimeters.
I gotta say, by the way, this is a nice office, right? For the middle of the,
Yeah.
you know.
Very, very tech 2.0.
Yeah, it really is. Silicon Valley, right?
Yes. So there is a cutscene here, but we are not going to show it to you because we want to avoid spoilers. So you'll be able to play it yourself and then maybe get a little bit of cinematic.
Yeah,
so
we can't show you everything, right?
No.
Otherwise, there's no fun.
Gotta save some for later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
So, Grace, you were telling me earlier that there are some classes,
Yes.
right, that for players so that they can hone their skills in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. What can you tell me about that?
So we'll have 4 classes at launch. Our demos are playing 3 of the classes today. So we have the Assault, which is very much your assault. They can go in there. They have mastery over a lot of different weapons. They're able to use their special class skill, which is True Grit, which allows them to they basically pump up their health and take a little bit less damage, and they're able to be a little bit more enduring in the battlefield. And they also have each of our classes have a special item. So the Assault class has the gas grenade, so we're really going to give you the tools you need to accentuate whatever playstyle you want. So then we have things like the Panther, which is, as I said before, the master of stealth and infiltration. So you'll have the smoke bomb, so you can get out of situations or set up situations.
And the cool laser cutter, right, which
Very
we just
cool.
saw. That was awesome.
All classes can use that. So
Very cool.
unfortunately, not restricted to the Panther. Yay! And then we've got the Sharpshooter, which is your sniper. If you've got good skill and good headshots, I recommend that one for you. And then we'll have the Field Medic as well, which will obviously be a support for the Ghost teams.
So really accommodating a whole bunch of different kinds of playstyles.
Yeah, completely, yes.
Awesome. And I know you had the PvP classes, but now at launch you're going to have the PvE classes, right?
Right.
That's
so
very
in
cool.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint, we have a new feature, which is shared progression. So no matter which mode you play, if you want to play PvE solo or co-op, or you want to play PvP, you're going to be rewarded, and you'll have progression in the game no matter what. So if you want to play a bunch of PvP, then you'll still get items, and you'll still get experience that you can transfer over to PvE. So that's something that we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, can we just talk about, you mentioned a CQC, so the close quarter combat, right?
Yes,
That was intense. That was a reasonably intense moment.
Oh yeah.
So you were mentioning that there's some new CQCs that we can expect in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Like what exactly can you tell me?
So our team took a ton of care to actually work with Spec Ops and make sure that we got these animations really on point. So that's why they feel so visceral when you're doing it, is because we've talked to people who have been in the field, and we're like, okay, so how do you get this done as efficiently as possible, right? And a lot of times it's pretty brutal, right? So it's something that we really wanted to sort of amplify that experience of being a Spec Ops, and this being a deadly sort of encounter between you and the wolves. So we want to
I think
really...
Chris did a great job of translating that. I feel that, I feel very much.
Good,
that,
good.
Yeah, it's an intense moment.
It should make you nervous.
Yeah, and speaking of being nervous, the enemy archetypes, right? So we saw some of them as we were scoping with the drone. Can you give me a little more insight on all of those?
Sure,
those
yeah.
cool
So
archetypes?
we've got a bunch of different human and drone enemy archetypes. So my favorite of the human archetypes is the heavy. So he's a heavily armored boy. He is fully he's got the helmet on, he's got the full pad. I mean, you see him, he's got a minigun. I mean, this guy is, you see him and you're like,
is it
oh
a
no.
gun? Is it a rocket launcher? I mean,
It's a minigun, so
it's a
it'll
minigun.
start firing rapidly, which actually
that's dangerous.
It is, but he fires so many times and then it will heat up and then he has to stop, right? So the weapon can cool down, and that's when you can engage. And that's really the type of stuff that we want to accentuate in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, is once you know your enemies, how do you engage with that? So with this specific archetype, you have to wait for them to basically overheat their weapon, and then you can engage.
Okay.
And so we have one called the Rusher, which basically has a shotgun and runs up into your face. He's very scary when he starts running at you, and you're like, oh shit.
Very cool.
And then we have other ones like the Drone Caller, which will call drones and stuff.
Yeah, speaking of drones,
we're back in it.
We're back in it. So what are we looking at now?
So right now, after the cinematic, we are with our team lead Nomad. We have decided to. Sorry.
I think we're planting some bombs, right? Looks like we're
right. So we have talked to the Skeltech engineer, and we know that this facility is dangerous, and the Ghosts have decided that it cannot be in the Wolves' hands any longer. So they are planting some bombs in order to get rid of it before they extract Madeira.
Very cool.
Oh,
staying
what's
stealthy.
she gonna do?
Oh,
boom! Oh, right in the ear.
Right to the aorta, right there.
Yeah, so now they're gonna clean up the camp as they try and go find those bombs. Yes.
Getting my terminology down.
Indeed.
All the CQC.
Ooh, real gamer.
That's right.
So yeah, here we're back with the team lead. They've split off into 2 groups. We've got Nomad and Fix-It. They're both playing the Assault class. And then on the other hand, we will have Fury, who's playing Panther, and Vasily, who is the Sharpshooter. So here, there's obviously something interesting going on. We're not quite sure what it is, but it seems like they're definitely developing something in this facility, which is why they're destroying it.
They're planting all the bombs, right?
Right.
They're
so
sabotaging all of them.
Right. So we've sabotaged our second one, and now we've got one left for our team before they can extract Madeira. So let's see what they do. Ooh,
Just stop with
that
this
was
shit.
Yeah, dropping the iPad.
a little rude.
A little Bruce, right?
Those are expensive.
We're not going to kill the civilians. We're just going to knock their iPads out of their hands, right?
Yeah, move.
Out.
Hope you got Apple
Tablet
Care.
down.
And now we found the third explosive, so we're planning that. It is fully sabotaged, and now our team.
Assume it's time to get out, right?
Yeah, we've got to go find Madeira,
All right.
get her out, and then blow this joint.
Both literally and figuratively.
Indeed. So, yep, you got to check around all those corners, make sure that enemies have not.
You know, the advantage
Gone
of
in.
nice glass windows, at least. You know?
Yeah, that's very nice.
Keeping it light, can see where things are coming.
So here we go. We can watch this one. We'll get to see as they extract a little bit of a cinematic. Uh-oh.
Of course, the disadvantage of the windows.
Is that they can also see you, yeah. So here actually it's very cool. We have a first glimpse at one of our Wolf Lieutenants, Flycatcher. So basically, Walker's not working alone. He's got some pretty badass people who are working with him, and we've talked about 4 of them so far at E3, and this is one of them. And he's a drone specialist, so he's got some nasty drones.
Oh, shit. Get back! Get back!
How would you rate her hiding spot?
Let's see, that's I'd say that's a 3.5 on a scale. Maybe not the ideal hiding spot.
I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah,
She'll be fine.
yeah.
Yeah, no, she's great. Drones can't see through desks, so.
Do they have infrared sensors?
I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will.
Oh no!
Oh,
hell yeah!
There we
Nomad,
go.
woo!
To the rescue.
He did it. Team lead always comes in clutch.
Oh yeah. He seems like a handy guy to have around.
He is. Those drones are hard to hit, even for Ghost.
Oh.
Looks like Madeira has been hit, unfortunately, but overall still alive, which is good.
Alive is good.
Alive is good.
better.
I hear this, yes.
How bad is it? There's nothing a shot of tequila can't fix, all right? Listen, we gotta change the
Tequila,
plans.
the universal cure.
We need some help sooner rather than later.
Well, you know, alcohol kills germs. Right?
Yeah.
In this context, right?
Take me to South Cape Station.
I don't have a medical degree, so I'll trust your judgment.
I
in
don't
this.
either.
So we are going to still have to complete the mission. We're going to extract Madeira, but we've run into a little bit of a complication in that she has now been injured. So this is the perfect opportunity for us to showcase one of our new features, which is the Carry Buddy. So you're able to carry your allies as well as enemies. If you down somebody, you can hide their corpse to maintain your stealth run.
Okay, very good.
So Nomad, our team lead, is going to be moving a little bit slower now since he's carrying her. So our other teammates are going to have to pick up the slack and really offer some coverage as they move forward and progress. And you saw right before that with the outlines, Vasily, our sharpshooter, used his class item, which is a sensor grenade, which can basically reveal enemies in a certain amount of area, which is very cool and super useful for stuff like this.
Absolutely. It does look like their cover's just been blown, though.
Yeah, it looks like they're engaging. They definitely know that they're there. Flycatcher has alerted the wolves. We've got Fix-It over here taking some good shots. There was a drone around here sometime, so I wonder if they're going to be able to get out without engaging that.
Hopefully they can avoid that thing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very nice.
So you see there, he can activate his ability if he wants to, or maybe he'll save it for Big Boy Drone if he's around. So looks like they've got more enemies around. Nice job from our team Ghost. Fury's kicking ass, clearing out the tangos. We've got fixed. There's the drone. Yeah, so you can see here he is heavily armored and heavily armed as well.
Taking cover was the right choice there, right?
Yeah, you're gonna want to take cover with these. The drones will have certain weak spots that you can figure out. You see in the space between the plates, you're able to do it.
Nice
so
shot.
we've got rocket launchers
Very
in
cool.
Ghost Recon now. So
Excellent.
they are good for drones, good for blowing up metal bad guys. So make sure that you got one of those ready to
Shout
go.
out to the art team right there. That is a realistic leg wound.
So Fury just used her smoke grenade to provide some cover for the team as they're leaving, which is it's a very versatile item because you can use it if you're in a combat situation where maybe you're getting overwhelmed. You can drop it and then escape, or you can go in enemies and drop it and then do some CQCs, or again you can provide cover. And looks like we've taken them to Explosion Town.
Fantastic.
That was not written. This is a terrible joke. So we've blown up, and now we've got to extract Madeira, and hopefully the Ghost can call this mission complete. All right, Fury's definitely making sure that the backs are covered. Looks like we've got Madeira into the chopper. Nicely done by the team lead.
Fantastic.
Pull her up.
Getting everyone out safely.
Indeed.
Jesus.
Hope they have some tequila on board. Now they can get in the helo and hopefully extract.
I'm awake.
Looks like she's hanging in.
She's still talking.
Yeah, she's tough.
This is positive.
I mean, if I took a drone to the leg, I don't know if I'd be talking.
Flycatcher.
Are we getting a nice glimpse of the terrain?
Yeah, you can see more of the vistas I was talking about earlier here. We saw a little glimpse of the poppy fields, which is definitely my favorite area in this part of the demo. And you can see there's different mountains, there's going to be forests, and that is the demo.
Very cool.
So you guys can play this on the show floor, so make sure that you get in line and take advantage of that. And we are also going to have our beta. So we announced it yesterday at the conference. It is starting on September 5th, so make sure you go to the Ghost Recon website or ghostrecon.com/beta and register for your chance to participate.
And then, of course, the game is out.
Yes, October 4th. You can get it on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, the platforms.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Grace. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure chatting and seeing the Ghost Recon Breakpoint up close and personal. Right?
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and definitely check it out on the show floor, and we are looking forward to seeing your reactions.
Yeah, and we'll have lots more content coming up next, so stay tuned.
Yeah, I don't know that Walker necessarily believes in good and bad. I think it's about, completing the mission. What that entails and what is so necessary is throwing the rules out the window. And that's not something that a Ghost can do. With Walker, he was on the team of Ghosts. They'll always be connected, as you are with any brothers in arms. There's real desire to make them see your point of view. But I think that that just becomes an impossibility, and lines are crossed that he can never sort of go back from. So I think there's a real sense of conflict with him, and I look for that in any character I play. I didn't really know what to expect in this process, but I've loved it. It's like working on a great film with a great filmmaker. It's like you're in great hands, so it's like just do your job, and you're gonna be a part of something really special. Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, you got to get out over the ridiculousness of that fucking suit, man. And that you're doing a scene with somebody who's, got dots all over their face. But, I was surprised that that kind of went away pretty quick. One of the big advantages and major differences is when you have all those cameras going, you have the ability to really just go after the one perfect take, because this is only gonna work in one take. If one person drops something, 99% of it could have been perfect, it just doesn't work. There's no hiding, there's no, hey, can we just do this again? You're out there. And there's something great about that. There's something sort of athletic about that I really dig. I come from sports. It's an athletic endeavor to get on stage and carry it for the whole show and be courageous enough to change it up and to trust the moment. And I really dig that. I dig that pressure, and I dig that kind of makes everybody do their best. The folks have really gone out of their way to show us so much of the content that they've already created, so much of the content that serves the story. I deeply appreciate the commitment to authenticity here. The stuff that I'm doing is written by a vet, makes me feel confident in what we're doing, that there's somebody there, there's special forces guys in the room that are right there with us. And yes, it can be things for as sort of like pedestrian and mundane as, you know, how's my footwork look when I'm walking with this certain kind of rifle. We really went into depth with how Walker sort of treats the dog tags of his fellow soldiers and people that he's had to put down, and I think it very much colors the performance. This is not some sort of two-dimensional mustache twirling villain, you know? He's a guy with real purpose and an emotional depth. I don't mean to give you a kumbaya answer, but I'm honored that I get to sort of have a character like that with Walker. You were walking a thin line.
Available October 4th. Pre-order now for guaranteed beta access.
So this year is the 10-year anniversary of Just Dance. It's not just about the dancing, it's not just about the community, the costumes, there's so much more than that.
When the original one came out, I was like 14, but it was really special for me because it was a way for me to learn how to dance without feeling embarrassed.
There's an entire universe that I discovered, and for the first time I danced with people that were as passionate as me.
I don't even view it as a game. It's I guess like a lifestyle, really. It's changed so many people's lives.
I remember that they streamed it on Twitch, and I was like, what's Twitch? I don't really know what that is. And when I got home, I checked it out and decided to start streaming with the help of some friends, and here we are.
I discovered something amazing. Just Dance have a community I didn't know before.
I never expected there to be this huge world of Just Dance, especially ones that do flash mobs in Paris and stuff like that.
10 years ago when I started teaching dance for the first time, I thought dance had to be a certain way and it had to be a certain look, and with Just Dance and its whole, like, anyone can dance. And I guess as long as you're having fun, that's the most important thing.
It definitely inspired me to become a more open person. I got inspired by others, less judging, more fun.
Being able to play Just Dance in front of people who love to watch it has just made me not only a healthier person, but a much more confident person.
I guess Just Dance itself has really evolved the way we consume dance and the way that we learn and watch.
The fact that Just Dance hits the 10-year anniversary makes me realize how much time has passed.
The evolution of Just Dance 1 to what it is today is like almost a completely different game.
I discovered so many new styles of music that I would never listen to before. It's broadened and cultured my music collection.
I feel like it's a living thing, because each year it's bringing you to different universe.
The costumes, the choreography, the backgrounds are all so immersive.
How I would like to celebrate it.
So maybe a marathon? Like playing all the games?
I would love to do a cosplay with like a piece of every single game. Like just everywhere, like have a little bit of Just Dance 1 here and like Just Dance 2 here or something.
I'd love to do like a world mashup where I'm including all the different people that I've met via Just Dance, playing Just Dance, and have them a part of a video. I think that would be unreal.
What I would do to celebrate the 10 years is, I think, Just Dance.
We've been here 10 years.
And here's to celebrating 10 more.
Now, it's your turn.
How will you celebrate?
How will you celebrate?
How will you celebrate 10 years of Just Dance?
Hey there, folks. Chris Waters here. You are watching Ubisoft live at E3. We're on the show floor. We're talking Ubisoft games. And the man next to me, Craig Robinson, community developer, is here to talk about one game in particular.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Rainbow Six Siege. We're gonna not... I can't do the whole thing in that voice.
That's
Craig.
okay. That's all right.
That was impressive, though.
Thank you. I appreciate
Welcome,
that.
dude. How's it going?
It's going really well. You know, it's day one, E3. Exciting time. We got a bunch of people who are having fun at the Siege booth, as well as Watch Dogs and Ghost Recon, and so it's starting off really well.
Day one of also Operation Phantom Sight.
You're so right. It is. So we released Phantom Sight, went live this morning on all platforms, and so far players seem to be having a lot of fun with it.
Excellent. So Operation Phantom Sight, for those of you who don't recognize the name, it's a new season of content for Rainbow Six Siege. 2 new operators, a new map rework, and a bunch more. We're going to be delving into all that stuff, sort of get a behind-the-scenes look from Craig here. But before that, we want to run a little video, get you folks acquainted with Warden, with Nook, with Cafe, and what's here in Operation Phantom Sight. Operation Phantom Sight is coming to Rainbow Six Siege. The Phantom in this title is Nook, an attacker who uses her gadget to muffle her footsteps, keep herself out of the spotlight, and creep everyone right out. The Sight is Warden, a sharp-dressed defender whose glasses allow him to resist or recover from flashes and to see more clearly when things get smoky. We'll give you the details on these 2 new operators and show you around the newly renovated Cafe Dostoyevsky. No reservation necessary. First, let's meet the guy in the tie, Warden. Fresh off a stint with the United States Secret Service, Warden is a dapper defender who accessorizes with his glance smart glasses and a snazzy statement watch. When things start popping off, Warden can switch his glasses on to accomplish all of the following. Number 1, make himself immune to flashes. Number 2, remove any flash he is currently affected by. Number 3, give him clearer sight through smoke. And number 4, add some high-tech panache to his "I just killed you" screen. You can manually deactivate the glasses or wait until they run out of juice and need to recharge. Either way, there is a fixed cooldown before you can activate them again, but there's no limit to how many times you can use them in a match. With his glasses active, Warden is a strong counter against any smoke and flash party that the attackers try to throw. If Blitz gets frisky or Ying lights up a whole mess of candelas, Warden will be having none of it. Even Glaz will have to think twice about setting up behind his precious smoke screen, though he still has an edge on Warden with his bigger scope and thermal detection. Note that the smoke filtering feature on Warden's glasses is less effective if he's moving, so picking smart angles and repositioning quickly are vital to making the most of his gadget. And while his glasses are active, you'll need to watch out for the gadget disabling and gadget detecting powers of Thatcher and IQ. But as a high armor, low speed operator wielding either an MPX submachine gun or an M590A1 shotgun, Warden makes for a strong anchor, and he looks good doing it. Hailing from a different quadrant of the fashion galaxy, we have Nook. This attacker from Denmark's Jaeger Corps may have an eye-catchingly eerie getup, but you would actually prefer it if you didn't notice her at all. So, when her Hell Presence Reduction gadget is active, you won't hear her footsteps, and you won't see any sign of her on camera feeds. It's a little spooky. And with all the different potential camera feeds available to defenders these days, Nook's ability to hide from them all is all the more alarming. Her gadget runs off a recharging meter, like Warden's glasses, but unlike Warden's glasses, there's no required cooldown, so Nook can turn her gadget on and off and on again whenever she has the juice to run it, giving her more tactical flexibility. And activating her gadget doesn't require her to change weapons, so she can continue wielding her primary, an FMG-9 submachine gun or 612 SD shotgun, or her secondary, a 5.7 USG pistol or a D50 pistol with an equipable suppressor. This makes Nook a formidable flanking and fragging threat. Though, like any operator, she has her limitations. Nook's gadget will glitch and be visible on camera feeds if she performs basically any action except moving at a normal speed or slower, crouching and moving, or reloading or swapping weapons. You can also keep an eye out for environmental clues, like breach debris moving of its own accord. Or you could take a more proactive approach and throw down some barbed wire. Nook will glitch while passing through it. If you really want to make things tricky for Nook, take Lesion and his goo mines. She'll glitch when she steps on one, glitch every time she takes damage, and glitch while she pulls out the needle. Aside from the glitch, the only other camera interference that will let you know Nook is nearby is this waveform effect that appears when using Mozzie's hacked drones, or Echo's yokai. Every other camera will have a hard time seeing, and your ears will have a hard time hearing, this medium speed, medium armor attacker. Team Nook up with a roamer hunting operator, or take her on a sneaky flanking route, and you've got a powerful new way to unsettle the defending team. The map you've been seeing here may look familiar. It's Cafe Dostoyevsky, or Cafe to its friends. The Siege team has renovated this lovely 3-story gathering spot, creating new bomb sites, making old sites more viable, and generally sprucing things up for more balanced encounters. For example, enter through the new reception area and you'll find a stairwell has moved, opening up new possibilities for opening up the reading room. The kitchen area has been extensively remodeled and given a festive touch, and there's even been some light roof work. The shiny new cafe map will replace the old cafe map for free when Operation Phantom Sight launches. The 2 new operators, Warden and Nook, will be available at launch for Year 4 Pass owners, and unlockable for all players 7 days later by using Renown or R6 credits. For more on Rainbow Six Siege, subscribe to this channel and visit us at news.ubisoft.com. So now that you've got the basics, you've got some insights, you've got some gameplay of Warden, Nook, and the new Cafe Dostoyevsky rework, we're going to dive into it a little more. Craig is the man with the information.
I got some information.
Some information.
Not all the information.
We are going to relay
some
some of that information to you today. Let's talk about Warden first.
Okay.
We saw him yesterday in the conference as the star of Clash Royale.
Secret Agent Man.
Clutch Royale. Secret Agent Man. So yeah, he's got the glasses, can't be flashed when they're active, can kind of see through smoke. But like what's, when you design the operator, when the team sits down and they're like, okay, who do we want to bring into this? What was the impetus, what was the setting that they were like, we need a character like Warden, we need a gadget like this?
Well, our game designers approach each operator in a very unique way. And so a lot of times we will say, hey, what can we do to really change how we're approaching operators, how we're approaching the way the game is currently played? Warden is a great example of how we're shifting that a bit. So what we wanted to play around with was reactive gameplay. And so with Warden, we have an operator that is sitting on site, he's an anchor, and he's waiting for the attackers to come to him. And so the attackers, when they are approaching the objective, often they feel they're setting up to make sure they have the advantage to push the objective and win.
Sort of getting their angles set,
Right.
they're taking the nearby rooms.
Yes, and so Warden, his secret, his trick, is he is there to throw a wrench in that plan.
Okay.
And so they are moving into the objective, flash, smoke, everything, pushing in, and most of the time, all the other defenders can't see through that. They're stuck. They're waiting for it to clear before they can start taking action.
Yeah.
And that gives the attackers the advantage. Warden turns tables, flips the script.
Yeah.
And so
he's ready. He starts throwing
Exactly.
wrenches. Everyone's very confused.
Stop, that's the next operator. You can't say that.
No.
So he activates his glasses, and when he does that, he is able to clear flash if he's already flashed, prevent further flashes, and see through smoke when he's immobile. His ability to see through smoke is reduced the more he's moving, and so he's kind of like a stationary reactive operator. But as soon as these attackers are moving into the site, thinking they have the advantage because they have smoke to cover their push, the defenders are all flashed, Warden's there with a whole bag of tricks.
To disrupt that whole situation.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you do your droning as an attacker. You know Warden's in the match. Do you think that you adjust your push that way? You're like, okay, maybe we need to try to take out Warden first somehow, or we're going to have to be real sensitive about our flash, smoke push. Maybe it's not going to work out the way we want.
Right, and so what they're going to have to do is, whenever an attacker is aware that Warden is in play, they are going to have to adjust their approach to make sure, because their flash and their smoke is not reliable anymore. And they're going to have to be much more meticulous about that drone play and that intel gathering metagame that we have to make sure that they know exactly where Warden is and what his cooldown timers are kind of looking like on his smartwatch, or smart glasses.
Oh, so like, you know, maybe they'd throw a flash in there to try to bait Warden into using it so that then they know, okay, it's on cooldown, he's not gonna be able to use it, like go.
Right, exactly.
Oh, all right.
So there's multiple levels of fun.
Plus, I mean, he's wearing a suit.
And he looks snazzy, the mustache, killer, looking great.
He strikes a very distinctive profile, and it's fun playing, and you come around and like, you know, the alarm of like, oh, there's a defender, but like, oh, he's wearing a suit, he looks kind of good. Don't pause to admire the suit. Do that in the menu or a custom match.
Or in the kill cam.
Or in the kill cam if you play like me.
Like I do.
All right, so, you know, then the other operator, the attacker, Nook. Nook, also very striking.
Yes.
Also looks very eye-catching. Yeah, that distinctive camo situation. Really, it's reflective of what she does, what her ability is, which is to hide from cameras.
Hide from cameras, hunt defenders.
Hunt defenders, sneaky steps. You can't hear her when her thing is active. So talk about how they came at Nook for an attacking operator.
Well, you know, we saw a lot of, when we first revealed Nook, we saw a lot of feedback that players felt like, oh, it's just Visual and Caveira combined.
Yep.
And what we realized is in the creation and conceptualization of Nook that taking those two aspects of those operators from defense and putting it on attack it's really impactful. It's really interesting to see how that changes how those gadgets are used almost entirely.
Okay.
And so with Nook, she's able to have that freedom to maneuver around the map and find those roamers very efficiently, especially because she has a suppressed D50.
Ooh, nasty. Yeah, and when you say find roamers, you're talking about people who are not necessarily near the objective. They're hiding there, like they're looking on cams that they've set up maybe to try to get intel. They're lying in wait to try to ambush the attackers from an unexpected angle. But Nook can clear them out. They won't hear her coming necessarily, and if they're looking on cams, she can just sneak right by.
Absolutely. And you know, it's one of those things where we have Warden, who is an anchor, and we have the roamers who are moving around the map ready to position themselves for a site retake if they lose control of site, or to catch stragglers on the attacking team. And so Nook is able to position herself and maneuver around that map to make sure that the impact these roamers can have on both site retakes and hunting down the attackers is limited and extremely risky.
Extremely risky, yes. That's making it, like, even just making things riskier for your opponents in Siege can be powerful, because you just deter that tactic and take it off the table, or you make it a much higher cost. You force the other team to make a decision, like, how much am I willing to push, before I collapse to my next plan.
Well, it's all about managing your resources, right? Is really what it is. And Intel in Rainbow is such a huge resource that has to be managed by both teams that her ability to maneuver around silently with no footsteps and not be seen on cameras, you're denying a significant chunk of that information game that the defenders are trying to play to outwit the attackers.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I had this with Caveira when she came out too. It's just that not hearing footsteps, I don't realize how much I relied on the footsteps to know until suddenly someone's around the corner. I didn't hear any footsteps. How did this happen? I'm dead. And then it's kill cam time again.
But she looks great on the kill cam too.
She does.
So it's not. It's a win-win all around.
It's a win-win. One of the wins is more of a win than the other win, but still, you're having a good time.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Warden, that's Nook. Those are the two operators coming with Operation Phantom Sight available now. Also with Phantom Sight, we've got Cafe Dostoevsky. This is not a new map.
No, it is not.
But it's changed. What is your approach here?
Refreshed.
Yeah, so what's the idea here? You're not doing necessarily a new map with every season this year. Why is that?
So when we originally launched the game, we had 11 maps, and we had our own idea of how people were going to play Rainbow Six Siege.
Sure.
And we had been playing for years within the studio, within the team, and within Ubisoft, and we thought we knew how people were going to play. In the few years since we've launched, we've learned a lot about our own game. And so what we've seen is what we're able to take advantage of now is we can take all the things we've learned over the last 3.5 years from a level design standpoint and apply them to those original maps. And we did it with Hereford earlier, and we're doing it with Cafe Dostoevsky. And so we're taking things where we thought that certain bomb sites would be more viable than they actually ended up being in play. We are adding bomb sites. We're balancing our maps more directly and overtly around bomb as a game mode. It's our only game mode in ranked now.
Yep.
And so revisiting Cafe was an opportunity for us to apply those learnings and give the map a facelift to make sure that it plays as well and as fun as all of our other newer maps we've released post-launch.
And the core of that, it feels to me, when you say make a bomb site more viable, what you're talking about is like, you know, if a bomb site is not viable, it just means it like almost always goes one way. It's so hard to defend, or you know, it's impossible to attack, right?
Yes.
And so making it more viable doesn't just then say like, okay, now like this can be on the esports scene. It also means at every level of play, every site they're defending is going to be more of a contest, more engaging, and not just like, oh well, we're defending kitchen again. Blah.
Absolutely, and you know, it's when you're playing and you win on a bomb site, you're rotating to a different bomb site, and so you can't just keep picking the same one that gives your team the advantage every time.
Of course.
And so by making sure that we have more viable bomb sites that are all equally balanced and work well for both attackers and defenders, it's critical to the overall enjoyment of a particular map. So.
Well, I'm not going to say I'm mad about it, because knowing what I know about Dostoevsky and just now I only have to learn the changes that you've made, which substantial as they may be, and they are pretty substantial.
They are.
It's not a whole new map.
No.
Because this whole learning maps is so vital to Siege success, knowing the operators and the way they play. And folks, if you've been listening to this and like the new gadgets, the new tactics, the new map, and you sort of feel that like, man, Siege, there's a lot to know.
There is.
This is something you guys have your eyes on as well.
Absolutely. You know, we've realized over time that the more we keep adding to our game, the more difficult it is for people to jump in and pick it up. And with the way that we shift the overall meta every 3 months with 2 new operators, attack and defense, if you even take 3 months off, you're jumping in and it's almost an entirely new game. And so we've realized that we need to start addressing that learning curve and that new player experience, and as well as returning player experience. And so people who are familiar with the original Cafe, they can come back, like you were saying, they kind of understand the overall flow. We've improved that flow and they'll be able to take advantage of that pretty quickly. But for newcomers, we're no longer going to be adding new maps every season that they have to learn completely.
Yeah.
Right. So we're able to more curate the experience for these new players and make sure that they have opportunities to learn these maps before they're kind of thrown into rank, and good luck.
And there's also, you know, helping that out, the newcomer playlist is a pretty recent addition to Siege, and that's a place where the level is limited for how you can get there. So if you get in there, odds are you're going to be with people who haven't been, you know, playing 1,000 hours of Siege since it launched.
Absolutely. And so we have newcomer playlist, which is your level 1 through 50. Once you clear out level 50, you're no longer able to queue in that playlist. It's got a limited number of maps that are available, so you're able to really focus on learning a few maps really, really well, familiarize yourself with operators, and get a good warm and fuzzy feeling about Rainbow Six before, again, you're jumping into ranked play where, you know, the match settings are a lot more in-depth, they're a lot more complicated. We have pick and ban now, and so players are able to ban operators. So you have those first 50 clearance levels to familiarize yourself with a few operators, just in case you're an Ash main and it gets banned every match.
You don't want to get banned. You don't want your only operator to get banned. You got to diversify.
Exactly.
And I mean, honestly, by the time you get out of that newcomer playlist, you're going to be hungry for more. Like that is even when you recognize, even when I watch the 6 Invitational, the Pro League Finals, and I recognize there's strategic levels upon levels playing, it's still like, oh, I want to get there. I want to get here. I see this tactic I can do. You get hungry for it, and that's one of the things I love about this game.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about what's coming next. Tell me all of the operators for the next 5 seasons.
Yeah, so I'm going to not do that, actually. Instead, we're going to talk about anything else.
Okay, but you do have some plans this summer. I think, like in terms of, you guys have these ongoing community involvement things that really, because as you were saying earlier, a lot of the way this game is played is defined by the people who play it.
So we have a lot of exciting things. We're doing new in-game events every season, which is awesome. We just finished out with Rainbow is Magic, which was a hilarious time.
Oh my goodness, it was
beautiful.
Amazing. I hope you guys bring this back, because it was just, they basically turned the plane level into a toy plane on the floor of a kid's playroom.
It was the kids' playroom in-house.
Yep.
So it was in another map. It was very pink.
It was in-house too.
It was in-house,
Man,
kids' bedroom.
Plane. I missed out.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that was whenever you melee an unbreakable surface, usually it tells you this thing that's like, you're not going to be able to blow this up. Go somewhere else. In that, it was like, there's like sparks and stuff.
It was awesome. The hostage was replaced by a giant teddy bear that everyone wanted to save.
Really playful.
It was lovely.
Really fun. And so, events coming up or, community stuff.
Yep. So, we have events every season. Can't talk about the next one yet, but it's going to be really exciting.
Okay.
We've been working with some of our streamers, actually. We have a really interesting opportunity to implement weapon charms for some of them in-game.
Okay.
And so we just released our newest line, and we have 5 weapon charms that are now available for some of our larger streamers on Twitch. And so we have some communications about that on our website if you want to go check it out and see who's available. But yeah, we've been able to work really closely with a lot of our community members to help drive changes in the game. Another example is a workshop that we're going to have at our Ubisoft Barcelona studio later this year. We're going to be bringing a few of our content creators to experience the balancing sprint for our next season firsthand. A balancing sprint is when we have our balancing team, our balancing cell, sits down, they churn through the data, the player feedback, they look at everything that's happening, and we make the decisions for what we're going to change in the next update. And so we're going to actually be bringing some of our content creators and some of our more analytics and theory crafting based content creators to the studio, going through the data with them, kind of talking them through the process. And so the ability for us to bring community into the development and evolution and growth of Rainbow Six is something that's near and dear to my heart as a community developer.
Of course.
But also to our production team as a whole. And it's something that we feel very strongly about, and we're very happy with where we are at in terms of our relationship with the community.
That's great to hear, Craig. And now, in the spirit of that community dev connection, we're going to pit them against each other in a match of Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes, and I had dinner with some of our community members last night, and they were sitting there making sure they were all aligned on call-outs, and they had their strats ready to go.
Really?
Yes, we informed our devs that are going to be playing. They're a little not stoked about that.
You were a mole? You told them all?
No. I would never reveal the dev team strats. Okay.
Okay.
But it's going to be an interesting match. I think that overall, I think the devs have the advantage in that they're familiar with the operators, the map, they've been practicing, but the community members are just really good.
I mean, you stream the game a lot, you're gonna get real good.
Exactly.
Video game development isn't always playing your own game all the time.
No, it is not.
So this should be a really competitive match, folks. We've got a Rainbow Six Siege show match between the Rainbow Six developer All-Star Squad. I'm gonna say All-Stars.
Yeah, definitely All-Stars.
Definitely All-Stars.
Yeah, 100%.
And the streaming elites coming. It's gonna be right here on stage, here live, as part of the Ubisoft Live at E3 broadcast. Craig, thanks so much for coming and giving us some insight into Operation Phantom Sight.
My pleasure.
Operation Phantom Sight live now. Rainbow Six show match coming up shortly. Don't go away.
This is Ubisoft live at E3. We are back on the booth and we are ready to talk some Rainbow Six Siege. I'm Zach Cooper. This is Parker Intero Mackay. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. It's my first E3. It's a pleasure to be here. We've got some awesome content to talk about. We got some great content creators, Twitch streamers to see, and then of course, if the devs are as good at the game as you'd imagine that they are.
There has been some junk talking ahead of the match, which should be a doozy. We have some time to play with. We also have community developer Karen Lee joining us from the sidelines to introduce us to our competitors.
All right, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today at the Ubisoft booth at E3. So we're really excited to introduce the two teams that you will be watching today. Let's start off with the dev team, Team Raven Shield. With us today, we've got Guillaume Essoufi, game designer, Leroy Atanesov, game director, Maxime Francois, programmer, Sebastian Levesque, production manager, and last but not least, Maxime Marquis, gameplay director. Moving on to our content creator team, we've got Team Rogue Sphere. With us today, we're super psyched to have Jenna Marbles, Julian Solomita, Little Lexi, B-Nans, and Justin. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to hand you guys back off to Zach and Parker so that they can kick things off.
Thank you very much, Karen. Yes, we have the devs, we have creators, we have a lot of pride at stake. Spoke to both sides before we got rolling. It's funny, the perspectives that they have. The devs, so familiar with the game, they made it. They came here and they're shooting to not get skunked.
Yeah, a lot of these content creators, they play together, they know each other, they're familiar with one another. The devs too, on their downtime, on their lunch hours, etc. I've actually played against some of these same devs before myself.
You talking some junk too?
No, they're pretty decent.
Okay.
They're not half bad.
Yes, I know Guillaume is just, I think he said he was Plat 2, so he is close on the cusp, the precipice of Plat 3, Plat 1, and then there's Diamond.
I mean, he might be on the precipice of Plat 3.
He's feeling pretty good. I think he's going to be carrying them, but we'll see what we got from the creators. I'm very curious to see how that familiarity plays into this. You know, there is going to be a challenge, and obviously we have one map to work with, something that you're very familiar with in the cafe.
A map that I've been a little bit critical of before it got some renovations and remodeling done. And I gotta say, credit where credit is due. It's an awful lot of fun now. It's in a much better place. And because of this, you're looking at a map that is more fluid, a map that is less aggravating to play on for attackers and defenders, because you don't have to worry about possibly being picked off due to your vulnerability when you drop through a hatch or decide to push in through a doorway. That in the old cafe, there was only so many ways to get on it.
Okay, well, it looks like some nerves are pretty rich in some of the devs' faces. I know they want to make some magic happen, but perhaps the odds are stacked against them. Let's see what we're looking at right now. If you want to break us down into what's going on, Parker?
Well, Ash being banned is very interesting, an extremely hyper-aggressive operator. In Rainbow Six, you're defined often by your fragging potential and your utility. Ash exactly has isn't exactly a utility-based operator. Her utility is the fact that she's real fast. As she gets on in, she does a lot of damage. Following up that Ash ban, though, is Blitz. These are two operators that, in the right hands, are very frustrating to play against. And I think these are comfort bans Cav as well, exactly the same category as the other two.
Yeah, we've got Raven Shield there, the devs, Rogue Spear are our creators, and we should have a lot of fun. This is certainly where we find out what the playing field is going to be looking like. Any surprises so far outside of what we've already discussed?
I mean, these are all fragging operators that are being banned. Not a lot of utility here. You know, Kavera is, a lot of people refer to her as spooky, because she can activate a silent step, she can sneak up on you when you're least expecting it, and her ability is that she downs you and then gives the team an interrogation, which gives the position of, you know, the other team's players away. It can be particularly damaging for a team that isn't expecting it. Doc as well. On Cafe, there are so many long angles on this map. Doc is a great operator for taking those long angles, and I feel like with him out, we're going to see an awful lot of Rook, who has a lot of similarities to the way that Doc is played.
It looks like we're going to be having a lot of fun today. I saw in the game chat we've got some hearts flying around. So, you know, I know everyone wants to play and win, but obviously we want to have a good time.
Of course.
Yes. That said, I mean, you've been around the world with Rainbow Six over the last little while. And
once or twice.
Yeah. I mean, 6 Invitational to the Pro League Finals. And here we are getting together in the prep phase. Everyone's, you know, working through making sure their settings are exactly how they want to be. And here we are.
And so we have both new operators coming out immediately, which is really nice to see. Warden is, as somebody I've referred to as one of the best dressed operators in the game. He hails from the Secret Service, and you can see he's being played in the hands of the dev. His gadget, as you saw in the trailer that played before this matchup, allows him to see through smokes, it allows him to see through flashbangs and be immune to some of the nastier abilities that the attackers can bring.
It's going to be really cool as well, and I don't know if we see a Nook here just yet, but we are. Okay, so that's going to be exciting as well. You want to break us down into what that's looking like?
Yeah, so the second new operator, hailing from the Jaeger Corp, as was also mentioned by Craig on the panel that was earlier when he was with Chris. And basically, she is a similar operator to Kavera, but on attack. She has an ability, Nook does, where she can go invisible to cameras and any kind of surveillance gadgetry. Now, you can still see her with your eyes, but it allows her to evade most detection and get into sight actually quite fast. So she can do a lot of damage if you're not paying attention, and if you have somebody who's too over-reliant on cameras, well, Nook will make you pay for it.
The cameras are a big part. I mean, you know, this audience might not be quite as familiar with Rainbow Six. You know, when an operator goes down, they're not out of the game.
No, that's very true. Is the way that this works is you've got 5 people on either team. If you're down, you go on what's referred to as cam duty, and a beautiful shot there from the Rook with this ACOG. Long range, takes out B-Nans, that's Jackal, that's a set of smokes that's off the board as well for the attackers, and quite a bit of utility with a good gun to boot.
And that's the dev striking first, perhaps making a little bit of noise.
Immediately answered back, though. Here you have it by Jenna playing on Repel, and then there's another with Justin. The double J combo, swiftly answered again, and also a new change, as you see on the middle of your screen, the way that it indicates how many people are left, 3v3, 3v4, etc. It's a little bit more obvious now, as it's color-coded on the center of your screen. It's quite nice to be able to see that in action.
I know we didn't get a chance to go through the rules in depth, or at all for that matter. You want to just sort of give us the high-level grazing?
So as little Lexi, who did an amazing job in the Twitch Rivals matchup yesterday, appears to be keeping with those winning ways, cutting down one more dev. It's going to leave 2 bodies left. We are playing with Pro League rules. There's another kill. Little Lexi, a double kill being displayed on your screen. Seb might actually be able to catch her from behind and will, and then push on in a tight 2v1. But most importantly, that's diffuser down. And the objective of Bomb is to plant the diffuser or kill every single person on the other team. In this case, Seb having a great degree of difficulty with his sensitivity.
Misfiring.
And it's Miss Marbles. Woo! That's 2 kills for her on the round, and her team, Rogue Spear, take round 1.
So it is the content creators who end up striking first in the first game. And tension's running high. We've already got the audience on site here really into it. And let's take a look at some of those faces. Pure game faces there. These are people that are obviously quite familiar with the game. Even the devs keeping their cool.
Yeah.
Although I did see a single sweat bead.
Just slowly, and it will continue to fall farther and farther down their head, and possibly might even grow in numbers. But so the rule set that we're playing under is actually very similar to the new rule set that's just coming into the game today. So about a week ago, Ubisoft unveiled what was called Ranked Reborn, which is a playlist that is the new rule set. Here you have them. They're the Pro League settings. So I come from Pro League. These are very familiar for me, but they've never been in the game, and they actually won't be in the game like this will be a slightly shorter version. As you see on the left-hand side, the number of bans, 2 per team. Those are done at the start of every single game. And then moving on down, you've got your number of rounds, 12 rounds. So these teams are going to play 6 rounds on either attack or defense, and then they're going to switch after that.
We're chasing some drones right now.
Seb is having a great degree of difficulty just being able to track both of them down. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with what a drone is, it's a little gadget that every single attacker has 2 of. The first 45 seconds of a matchup, whether it be live action or the prep phase, is usually going to be when the defenders are setting up and the attackers gather intel with these drones. And as you can see, a brief second there, Justin stashing his drone to use later on. There's a lot of theory behind the way that you use drones. There's flexibility. Do you use them at the onset to gather information? Do you save them for the latter half of the round when you know the round might be coming down and you need that information? It really depends on the team and the way you're going to play.
Do you have a personal philosophy yourself? I know you play a bunch.
It really depends on the way that the strategy of the team is going to work. And some people will expend their drones early, and some of them will wait. You know, if you're an attacker that has a strategy that is specifically to get a plant down, that is plant the diffuser, which is being carried by Julian right now on your screen. You want to save a drone or 2 so it can watch the diffuser, because then you can have one of those people, as you noted, when you're dead, you watch cams. They watch that drone so you don't have to put yourself in harm's way. But bad luck for Binance, as she's going to be the first frag yet again. She's gone. No Nook on the board. As you can see, the Captain taking an awful lot of damage in that interaction.
Yes, and the devs once again opening with the kills, but they're trying to get even here in this first match. So what are we seeing here being planted on that doorway?
So Capkin is a trap operator. He has 5 gadgets. The EDD MK1 on your screen on the right side of his character box. And basically what he does is he puts down 5 traps. If you walk into it, you take anywhere from 40 to 60 damage, depending on where you are in comparison to it, whether you're a 3 armor or a 1 armor. He does an awful lot of damage designed to slow you down and punish people who don't happen to look. And another trap operator that just got eliminated was the Legion. That's the orange spiky icon on the orange side of the, I guess, scoreboard at the top. So both teams now at 4-4. And little Lexi actually might be able to get one. Oh. No. She gets cut down by the Mira, who's watching the angle, and there's no push that's going to happen from Lexi.
All right, so what do we see from Jackal right there?
So, with the site being where it is, you're essentially going to want to take complete control of the periphery, right? The site's on the top floor. There's one of those Capkin traps in action. It takes Jenna down. It does quite a bit of damage, and Justin is now in a position as well where if he walks into a Capkin trap, he will also die. He's at just under 50 HP as it appears, and he's essentially knocking on the door here. He doesn't have a ton of time. He's actually going to grab a kill onto the Mira, who pops up, and Mira's weapon, the Vector, does quite a bit of damage if you can land all those bullets. Using these impact grenades, and it's a joint effort to take out Julian as he tries to go for the plant. Justin doesn't have a ton of HP left. And as you can see, these red marks on Justin's screen, those are likely going to be coming from the drones that are still in action. He managed to cut down the Valkyrie, but he does have to be very wary of these Capkin traps because he will die if he wanders through the wrong doorway. It also looks like Seb has been down too. So all it's going to rest in the hands of is the lone Rook at full HP. And when it comes to a straight up gunfight, the MP5 is a pretty good gun. In the midst of a smoke, it's going to be Justin getting that diffuser down. And he'll have no problem being quite successful. And he'll walk right away, but be very wary of which doorways you go through. And now that the diffuser is down, what you need from Rook here is he has to kill Jackal and then disable the diffuser. He's not going to be able to do that. What a round from Justin to hold it together for his team, and that's 2 in a row for the content creators.
Yeah, creators up 2-0, feeling pretty good. We see some palms to the foreheads. What does that tell you? What's that body language from the devs telling you, Parker?
Well, the devs aren't used to losing, obviously. And if they do, they're losing to other devs, let's be honest. And the grace and the poise here on the looks of the content creators.
They've been here before.
They've been here before, and big ups to Justin, who is very, very ill, yet is playing, and his skills so far have been just as sick as he is.
You know, that's how legends are born, Parker. Fighting through illness, overcoming the odds.
Well, they even said Michael Jordan played his best basketball when he was sick. Maybe Justin's the same way with his Siege.
The patented flu game, and of course Kawhi getting through some illness. Go Raptors. What do we have here? What's going on right now? Big.
It's crazy. The Raptors didn't even play last night. That's wild. They just decided to forego Game 5. As we are both Torontonians, I feel like we need to make a couple references to that. It was a very sad night.
We're going to hear the team chat through this prep phase here.
They win again. They have a frost again. This is an attack.
Upstairs and find the bump.
I'm gonna die to a frost trap. You ready?
No,
you're not a bear. I'm a bear. Going in bear trap.
No, bear. Don't trap me. I'm not a bear.
Is bear. Trap me, trap me, trap me, trap me.
Yeah, get her.
Oh, she. Alright, well, I got 2 assists if we get those kills.
I identified.
I'm going down white stairs again. She was in.
I'll try to get the mirrors with,
by bakery last time.
Wait, who is this?
All right, we are now in the action phase. Talk us through what you saw during the prep.
Oh, it's just your drone work that you need to do, and this 3rd floor bomb site seems to be a major headache here for the devs, and there appears to be some confusion as to who is going to take the diffuser. Sledge, the operator that little Lexi is playing, is not usually the operator that will be holding onto that diffuser. You usually want it on a more support-based operator, and Jenna is a support-based operator in that Capitao. Usually that would be one of the people who would be tasked with getting the plant down. Sledge, in little Lexi's hands, more of an aggressive operator, usually one of the 2 main points of entry for the attackers. And the devs are just very committed to going to the 3rd floor. There are 3 other bomb sites that are available on Cafe Dostoevsky. You know, I believe it was a Ubisoft game that asked the question, do you know what the definition of insanity is? And I feel like we're getting a great window into that. Speaking of windows, there goes one of the mirror windows, and so goes the Legion as well. Little Lexi will start things off with her team on a successful entry to the top of this 3rd floor.
Expert segue, sir.
Thank you.
Very well done. It's interesting. You started off as providing a thinly veiled criticism that was no longer thinly veiled.
Well, I think that for the devs, I mean, you got to go somewhere else. But I mean, this is working for them. They're just taking to the fight straight to the content creators at this point. Essentially, they're cutting down all access ways towards this 3rd floor. And as you can see where Binance just was, there's a hatch on the red stairs, 2 of them, in fact, that the attackers can drop through, and the defenders very wisely know that as one of the 2 main points of entry, you have to play aggressively there. Binance in hot pursuit. That's a beautiful kill. You saw the footprints on the ground. That's Jackal just doing some tracking work without giving away the position of the Valkyrie. Still, it's a tough task. I mean, it's a 2v3. This is very winnable. And if Binance can pinpoint some of the other players that are off-site, working in conjunction with Julian, this could be a 3rd round going in favor of the content creators.
You do not want to go down 3-0 at this point. The devs were coming out hot, but obviously the creators making some noise, put them back on their heels, but oh my goodness.
Just take a seat. SMK literally rolling out the red carpet on those stairs, and Julian's got the LMG in hand. It's a pretty formidable weapon with lots of bullets, but he looks up instead of down. Manages to evade getting shot, but doesn't have an awful lot of time. He doesn't have that diffuser, 20 seconds. This is going to be extraordinarily difficult. And if you're the devs, you know that Julian has to come up one of 2 staircases. Just sit and watch them, that's all. Don't even allow him to get close to the site. It's exactly what SMK is gonna do, and the devs finally getting a point on the board for Ravish.
Finally, some cheers from the devs, a little alleviation there, big claps. These guys flew a long way to be here, and that's Guillaume there that we're seeing. You know, he wants to win. He's the guy who wants to really carry this team. But there's obviously a lot of map knowledge. Have you seen much of that coming into play?
I mean, because Cafe is newer, it hasn't exactly been blown up. I mean, it's still very similar to what a lot of people who played Cafe would know, right? There was an extension that was added on that 3rd floor. Both of these teams should have some respectable map knowledge when it comes to Cafe, but I mean, the devs designed it, for crying out loud. Like, if anybody is going to have any kind of insider expertise or knowledge, it ought to be the devs in this
Parker
regard.
is expecting more from our devs.
No. The devs are performing well, and now because they won that 3rd floor bomb site, you know, it took 3 tries. They're going to go to Fireplace Mining Hall or Dining Hall on that 2nd floor. So on the 2nd floor, there is a 2nd bomb site that got added inside of Reading Room. Okay. Cafe used to only have 3 sites. They added a 4th, which is good for competitive viability. Essentially, with the way that the side swaps work and the way that the bomb sites are locked, once you win a bomb site, you can't go back to it for 2 more rounds after that. So when you have 3 bomb sites, it becomes a little bit difficult because then you end up with all the sites end up being locked, and the attackers know where you're going to go. There's a bit more variety now, and with changes to the first floor bomb site too, Cafe as a whole is a lot easier for the defenders to work with.
All right, what do you see so far from the new operators and how they're being utilized?
It's a good question, actually. Warden's play over both today and yesterday has not been very high. I think he's an operator that isn't exactly going to wow people who aren't playing in a very competitive or organized setting. You know, a lot of people tend to gravitate towards the very fast operators with really good guns and lots of punching power, and they don't. Warden doesn't necessarily have that. He's incredibly strong in the right composition, but so far we haven't really seen that level of composition come out. I think when you look at his impact in Pro League in 3 months' time, when he's out of the review period, that I think he'll be quite good, but that's just my speculation.
Yeah.
As for Nook, she's going to be a lot of fun on the flip side in ranked and in casual. I assume that she might get played a little bit in Pro League and high-level competitive play, but overall I think her biggest usage is just going to be running amok over completely uncoordinated teams where nobody's talking, nobody's checking, and she's going to be able to just feast on those types of, I don't want to say clueless, but less aware players.
Okay, that's fair enough. And obviously, Operation Phantom Sight has just gone live. So the operators are out there, the map will rework. Have you had a chance to get your hands dirty at all? Have you messed around with what we're seeing out there? Or is it mostly just seeing what's been going on with Twitch Rivals and obviously what we have today?
Yeah. I played it on the test server, which is available for people who are on PC. You have no problem being able to download that and then try content ahead of time. I've been here for the last half week or so I haven't really been able to do all that much of it. I only played it a little bit, and that's why I said I really liked Cafe Dostoevsky. I thought it was a really welcome change to a map that was a bit frustrating for either defenders or attackers to play, depending on the site. I think it's in a much more balanced state.
Yeah.
And with the two new operators, I really like that they're coming in from a place where their ideas are interesting, but they're not a huge departure from abilities we already have. You know, Nook kind of borrows from Caveira a little bit on defense, as well as Vigil.
Also spooky.
Yes, also very spooky.
Yeah.
Whereas Warden's ability is kind of a reverse Glaz Maestro Bulletproof Camera-esque job where he can see through abilities and be immune to that. I like that they have kind of taken ideas that already exist and made them suitable for operators on the other side of the coin, rather than something completely new, because I think it's going to be more familiar for players as well.
And it's interesting because, you know, for people who are sort of just jumping into Rainbow Six, there are a lot of operators, there's a lot of science in that balance that goes in, you know, providing these gadgets and skill sets, and then the counters that follow.
Yep.
So what's the best approach, you think, for someone who is sort of just getting into the game to sort of find a nice opportunity to get a feel for an operator, to really get a sense to how to navigate within Rainbow Six Siege?
I mean, they're not as robust as they used to be because the roster has obviously grown quite a bit, but the situations are a must-have. If you're brand new to Rainbow Six, the learning curve is brutally hard. You know, you've got maps that you have to know, you have operators that you have to know, you have different game modes that you have to know, and the roster is always evolving, not just in terms of roster tweaks to different operators, but also new content that's coming in. I would say if you're brand new to the game, start off with the situations, complete the 10 situations, and then go into terrorist hunt and play up against bots, play up against the AI. Don't put yourself in a position where you might be at the mercy of really superior players. Go and play on the maps against bots where the stakes are a lot lower, the pressure's a lot lower, and figure out recoil, figure out attachments, figure out how to use your utility and how to navigate a map that might be very daunting at the start, but actually isn't that hard once you get the hang of using your drone and exploring every nook and cranny of every single map that you play on.
And communicating, of course. Once you get in there with the real humans,
yes,
communication is key.
Use your keyboard or your microphone depending on what platform you're playing on. If you're not communicating, if you're not listening, you're losing.
All right, we are jumping back in with preparation phase. Players are ready to rip. We want the devs to certainly, get even in this one. They picked up a little bit of momentum toward the end of that round, holding it down prior, and here we are.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not blunted by the fact that we had to reset here. It's very akin to taking a timeout right as your team is starting to get hot and fired up. Not to reference the Raptors game again last night, but that's okay.
ill timeouts. Is that what?
Yeah, you got to manage your timeouts, right, at this point. So now we're going to see a secondary bomb site. This one's very familiar for people who know Cafe Dostoevsky. This is oftentimes considered the second most viable bomb site on the old build of this map. It's going to be situated inside of this mining room where Seb is laying down the frost mat, and then the other one's going to be in the dining hall. And it's essentially an axis, as you can see here being displayed by our spectator. You've got the train quadrant in the bottom left, now in your top left, that's dividing these two sites. And that's going to be incredibly important for defenders to hold. Because of the way that this game works, there's a lot of verticality, especially on a map like Cafe. So you can have people sit above the bomb sites and destroy the floor or ceiling, depending on your perspective. That's going to be really important that little Lexi does that. Her operator is perfect for this situation. And so is Julian's, but what a great bait from Lexi as she essentially trades off Julian being downed and she'll be able to get him back up only at 20 HP, so you will lose something in the process. Frost has also been down, so for the devs, this is a cataclysmic start through 50 seconds. Now Seb can be picked back up. He's just going to try to crawl for help, and the helping hands are slowly getting smaller and smaller as down goes one, and there goes another two. Right now, it just appears that the content creators are walloping everybody, but a great play by Valkyrie on the stairs takes out Justin, and it's essentially a 1v3 at this point because, keep in mind, that Frost is still downed because of a Rook armor. Will exist for a lot longer, but is still bleeding out and is completely ineffective. Good news is that Frost does have those Frost mats that will still exist, and they can still claim the lives of any attackers who don't know their location.
Nitro cell set.
Only problem with Valkyrie's position here is that she's now given it away. So being on the red stairs and using the Nitro cell in the position that she did, you're going to have to go somewhere else, and down goes the Frost, finally secured by Julian earlier on. Lexi will go for the plant, as you can see, but is very worried about a Nitro cell. It hasn't been communicated to the attackers that the Nitro cell has already been expended. They'll catch little Lexi looking, and immediately Valkyrie will rotate.
What do you think the chances are here, given the stakes? 45 seconds left, give or take, and 1v2 situation.
It looks like we might be on a collision course here. Julian's got his back turned to Valkyrie, because Julian is going to die to one bullet, and I think his position's just been given away. This is very winnable, and poor Jenna now having to try to figure out where this elusive Valkyrie is. Keep in mind, Valkyrie's gadget is that she has 3 cameras that she can throw anywhere over the map. And her position might be known to the devs because of that. So
I gotta say, as we get a window into Jenna Marble, she's definitely keeping her cool there.
A little bit of a smirk and a great deal of confidence. She'll be able to get this diffuser down successfully, but doesn't look the wrong way, and Valkyrie's position is given away by drone. This is going to be tough. The silhouettes are not known to either team, and the Valkyrie's around the corner. Jenna was the savior, and I believe it was round number 1. She'll have to do it this time, too. The clock is about to hit 1/3 of the way, looking towards the halfway mark, and Valkyrie's going to bait it out, and it's very easy for Jenna to finish that one up.
Jenna getting it done. The attackers, the content creators going up 3-1, feeling pretty good. There we go. Now we got some laughter. We're getting in. We're settling in. We're feeling good.
I mean, the people who create and balance this game are being humbled now by you. You got to have some optimism. You got to have some humor.
They knew that they were in an uphill battle. Again, chatting with them beforehand, they're playing for pride. I think they weren't necessarily expecting to win, even if they want to. They know that, our content creators spend an awful lot of time playing Rainbow Six Siege. And I think it's the creators who have, again, a rich sense of familiarity with one another. They want to get it done, and they want to get it done quickly.
Yeah. I mean, no mercy, just bloodlust. That's what the content creators are here for, right? And though we saw it teased a Tachanka pick from the devs, they're going to hold pat and go with the same lineup, or a very similar lineup to last time.
Well, let's hear the prep phase.
Why is scared? They're training it?
Lexi, Jenna.
Oh shit, who you stand?
No.
Oh no.
I got.
I hate to see it. Look, the last one's Frost again.
We weren't paying attention. Yeah, they reveal it.
Well, they could have done like the secret swap too.
Yeah.
Action phase has begun.
So with the current way that the round setup works, as we'd explained, it's 6 rounds on either side. You see that it says round 5 on the top of your screen. It means that there's going to be, after this round, 1 more opportunity for the devs to go on defense and 1 more opportunity for the streamers to go on to attack. And then we'll see whether maybe Cafe is just an attacker-favored map, because that does exist in Rainbow Six. There are some maps and there are some sites that are much more likely to go in favor of an attacking team versus a defending team. And then a lot of that also is how your setup is right now. It's a very standard setup that we see from the devs. Essentially what you want to do is you want to make it so that it's very challenging for the attackers to get on in, and you want to basically put pressure on the attackers to try and take an engagement. These mirror windows that we see right now in front and center on your screen, they're extremely powerful abilities, because you can stand behind it as a defender and you can see the attackers, but they can't see you. Lexi tried to dislodge one of them with a frag grenade, but wasn't able to do it, and Bnans will use this cloaking ability. Max is totally blind when it comes to intel, and that's an easy capitalization, and now Lexi will find another kill, as she is continuing to do, and Bnans will find every single goo mine that happens to exist in this map as she trudges on down towards the site.
Goo mine sounds lovely.
It does, indeed. And this frag grenade that Lexi was trying to get onto the mirror, it looks like it'll be far more successful. It's a 2nd kill for Bnans now. This is very difficult for the devs here. See in the bottom left-hand of your corner, the phone is ringing away. This is an operator named Dokubi, who rings the phones that happen to be in the pocket of every operator, gives your position away. Lexi, another great play to just push on in, and the mirror doesn't have a lot left. We're gunning down Julian, but there's Bnans.
Cleaning up the mess.
3 kills for Bnans. It's bananas, literally, as she wears it on her gun.
That is her own charm.
Yeah, she does actually have her own charm in the game, but the banana is pretty darn close as well. This will be the last round before we switch sides, so the very final attack. As well, because of the parameters about winning sites, the devs in round number 3 won Cocktail Lounge. So for rounds 4 and 5, they can't go back there, but now they can, because you've had that 2 rounds as a buffer. Round 6, and you see the devs will immediately lock in Cocktail Lounge. So at least from the devs' perspective, we're not going to see the new site, which is going to be in Reading Room, and we're also not going to see the newly redone kitchen site on the 1st floor. Might see that from the content creators once we switch sides.
Yeah. Based on what you've seen so far, I mean, are you expecting the devs to pull one back here, or is it? I mean, they're getting hammered.
I mean, if the devs contest the 2 hatches over on red stairs the same way, I think it's definitely doable. You have to read your opponents here in every single encounter that you have, right? And in this case, the devs know that right now where Rook is, that's where most of the attackers are going to come from. If you don't even allow the attackers to make it through that doorway, there's not much that they can do, because as attackers, you're very limited onto your entry points unless you're playing on windows that you can rappel upon. So it worked very effectively. It was a quick round for the devs last time they did this. They have tools to make it work. They're going to have the ACOG in the hands of the Rook yet again, and they're going to have lots of utility to spare with nitro cells and the traps from the Capkin, as we mentioned before. So it's definitely doable. It just really depends on whether the devs want to play as aggressive or as passive as before. I would say be aggressive. It worked.
I think you have to. Yeah, at this stage, you know, you're down 4-1. You really need to make some noise. I don't think it's the time to be conservative. Again, what do I know?
Well, I mean, your guess is just as good as mine. Everybody's is, right? I think there's a couple interesting questions here as to whether the devs will be quite as aggressive. It actually looks like the streamers are going to be less aggressive themselves. Good utility usage from Julian on Rappel. Pulls out IQ's gadget, which allows you to see electronics, and immediately spots what appear to be 2 cameras. That's vital, utility that is now gone from the defenders for the remainder of this round. Our first kill is going to come on to Beanans. So Nook, who got a triple kill last time by going undetected, will not be able to do that at all. It appears that she got spotted right as she dropped onto red stairs, and that was a joint effort. But speaking of joint effort, Julian and Little Lexi, 2 kills of their own, and they'll swing things back in favor of the streamers and away from the devs.
I was going to say that was a big move to get Beanans out of the equation early. She had, taken out 3 operators in the previous round, and here we are with the devs finding themselves trailing once again.
Little Lexi's going to take some damage from one of those Capcan traps, and she's going to have to be very careful that there's not another nearby. Oh, she swiftly beheads the Mira playing inside of the bar, and now Seb will have to win a 1v4. He'll start with 1 kill onto Little Lexi, but that'll be it. Justin shuts him down, and over 6 rounds. 5 for Rogue Spear. This is looking grim.
Yeah, I want to take a look at some of those dev faces right now. There we go. Oh, yeah.
Max appears to be trying to will them back and give them a little bit of motivation, but
Guillaume's not sweating.
I believe they call this a humbling, Zach.
Cracking some knuckles, loosen up the backs. Let's see if they can bounce back in any way. Right now, it's a bit of a smoke show with the creators on the happy end of that.
It's a trying to roll the ball uphill right now for the devs.
Little Lexi with 6 kills over these 6 games so far.
She and Beanans have really been pulling more than their own share of the weight, and Justin's been there as well, along with good contributions from Jenna and Julian. Don't forget, 2 of those rounds are almost won single-handedly by Jenna Marbles, by the fact that she was the last alive and able to clutch it out, especially after the diffuser had gone down. I believe it was in round number 5. So with that said, this cocktail lounge is a very popular site. It's one that everybody tends to know very well because it isn't really changed that much. Of course, you've got the addition of that different wing on the 3rd floor and this wall that's to the right of Little Lexi, plus that little overhang. But a lot of people know how to work it effectively, and while the game is not over just yet, remember it's 1st to 7.
It's close.
It's very close, and for the content creators, this is an opportunity for them to put themselves on match point and essentially force the devs to commit to a virtual reverse sweep in order to send us to overtime.
Any surprises as far as the amount of coordination that you've seen from our content creators in particular? I mean, they seem to have it together. They know each other. They play together. Is this par for the course? I mean, is this what a good, well-oiled team looks like?
I mean, heading into this matchup, I actually thought it would be the devs who would be really aggressive, because the devs know the game, the devs know the operators very well. Not that the content creators don't, but I mean, when you're talking about people who literally play and make this game every day, I would have expected the devs to come out firing on all cylinders. They just haven't been very aggressive. And the one round where they were, it worked effectively. It was the only round they won. But the content creators have been very, very fast and very quick to the punch. And because of this, I think it's working out really effectively for them.
My expectation would be is that if this wraps up as quickly as it is trending right now, we're probably going to be diving into another best of 7, which would give the devs, an opportunity to really start fresh and make some magic happen.
Absolutely, and I mean, you've got still at least about 6 to 8 minutes left, even if these 2 rounds go in favor of the streamers. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Now, there's a lot of utility that's coming out. When we say utility, we mean what operators bring to the table besides their guns, right? For example, Twitch, as we see right now, she has a little drone that can drive around and destroy gadgets. She also has a very good weapon. You see on the defender's side, they have Jenna playing on Clash, a very utility-heavy operator. You are literally just a shield. That's it. You can see through it, you can slow people down. Yeah, you can pull out a gun, but for the most part, you're going to be relaying information you see to the rest of your team. She appears to be working in conjunction with Little Lexi here, just trying to hold down the piano site, or piano room just off-site.
Is that pick for the shield, do you think that's a byproduct of the score, playing a little bit more conservative at this stage, just trying to hold on, maybe back off and literally defend?
Absolutely, and then you got Julian here in coordination with that, having this cardiac sensor on Pulse's hands to be able to give even more information to the rest of the team. So even though Justin gets felled by the rappel on the window, there's going to be a refrag, and Beanans gets very aggressive, but it will not pay off. It's a 2nd kill for the Jackal, who's just controlling this window and now has full access on in. But the duo that we see from both Little Lexi and Jenna will have a lot of work because Julian falls now. Jenna sees the buck on the windows and will likely give Lexi that information, but Lexi has to guard too many different angles now. She's holding this doorway that leads from the red stairs, that also leads from the red hatch. She's aiming about torso level. Recoil kicks up, she might be able to finish it off, and she'll do just that. Down goes the Nook, and the impact just a little too short, but she'll secure the kill. So now it's essentially a 2v2, but the problem is that there's 10 seconds left, and Clash does a great job at slowing you down. Another kill for little Lexi. She'll have to go for 4 if she wants to finish this one off. The Jackal, just the victim of time and circumstance, and it'll be match point for Rogue Spear, aka our Twitch streamers.
Oh boy, I think that humbling that you were talking about, I see some uncomfortable smiles, perhaps fate stepping in, bringing everything they expected right to their doorstep from the devs' perspective.
The action started to happen, so I couldn't really touch on it, but Clash is also a great operator to slow you down. You know, if you're an attacker and you want to be fast, you want to get insight quickly, you want to be able to take engagements and win them, there aren't many options for the defenders that are as effective as Clash at slowing you down. And it doesn't appear like the devs have much of an answer for the Clash. If you look at the lineup right now, very different. The Capitao and the Zofia are both exceptionally strong counters to the Clash because she's not very fast. You can shoot her with Capitao's fire arrows, you can disorient her with the concussive shots from Zofia's grenade launcher, which essentially makes you vulnerable because it pushes the shield out of the way.
All right, let's listen in on this prep phase.
Push this window right here, so we could like hold like right here. And then I'll pop up behind you.
Alright. So I'll be on train. Or in front of train.
Yeah.
Wait, tell me where to stand.
Okay. So like right here, and then I'll sit behind you and I'll just keep popping up.
Like right here?
They're gonna come from this window.
I'm scared.
Okay.
It'll be okay.
Look up a little more. You might want to look up a little more. Look at you. Did they change? Look how
I'm not exactly sure what this is, for the record. I have never...
I mean, they're just having fun at this point, right? I mean, we got match point there.
I think what they're doing is they're trying to use the mirror window as a deployable shield for little Lexi to play behind so that Julian will block all the bullets. But, I mean, if Julian gets shot in the head, it's over.
To me, my interpretation was that was clear and utter trash talk. They are just making fun of the devs at this point. I mean,
the boxing equivalent of when you put your hands behind your back.
Exactly.
And you just stand and watch your opponent.
Hit me, I'll give
try
you first
Try
shot.
and hit me.
Yeah.
Try and hit me, exactly.
That's wild.
And they move as a unit, so I believe the saying is ducks fly together. And in this case, that's exactly what's happening. Julian is essentially full bait for little Lexi, and keep in mind, this game does have team damage, so if Julian looks the wrong way, he might end up being the only person that little Lexi hits. From bad goes to worse for the devs as you say goodbye to Nook, and there's only 4 devs that are left to try and stave off this drubbing at the hands of the content creators.
You know, I got to say, again, we were harking back to before the match and the devs. I was chatting with them. You know, they came all the way from Ubisoft Montreal, and they claimed they just didn't want to get smoked and skunked and shut out entirely. But we're pretty close to seeing just that.
Yeah, and I mean, if it wasn't for this great Jackal play here, who just does not make it past Justin at all, this could have gone really well for the devs. So the Capitao is going to have to drop at some point, and the moment you drop, your position is given away, and Justin looked like he might be able to out-duel the Capitao, but it will be the other way around. So still keeping it even, but little Lexi with her shield escort of Jenna Marbles is going to be very tough. Keep in mind, Capitao still does have that utility that I mentioned earlier on. You can see on the screen that both fire arrows and smoke arrows are still available if you want to use them. Those fire arrows are great. They're referred to as asphyxiating bolts at flushing out Clash because she's going to take continuous damage as that fire spreads.
Final 30 seconds.
Oh, and she does down Lexi, so here you have it. If the fire arrow goes down, you need to position it correctly, start dealing damage to Jenna Marbles, and pulling out the secondary SMG, but she's gonna take so much damage, and there you have it, the devs. They still got some life left in them. Jenna, a valiant effort, but that fire rises, my friend.
Well, look at that smiley face, and I gotta say, I don't know how much of it is picking up on the mics, but the crowd here is definitely in favor of the devs putting on a stronger showing, and I think that'll definitely take some of the tension back, making a little bit of noise. It's still 6-2, but at least they're holding the fort a little bit more, pushing that needle back the other way. What are you expecting to see here?
I mean, I don't know about this round.
Song and dance.
Let's break down that previous round, Zach. That was a beautiful shot on the rappel in from the Capitao that hit Lexi, because Lexi was playing what a lot of different FPS games refer to as a pixel angle, which is when you hold an angle that you can only see a tiny portion of your opponent. And Lexi was trying to play that angle behind the clash of Jenna. And it's a very strong position to be in, because as an attacker, you're likely going to be lighting up the shield and not hit little Lexi. So a great shot from the devs.
All right, let's listen in once again.
Wait, Justin, can you put a Valcam on my shield?
Yeah, no.
It doesn't stay?
No, it doesn't stay.
I was going to be a moving camera.
Aren't you a moving camera by default?
Basically. Good call. Touche, Lexi.
I'm just dying. I'm dying.
Stay alive, we need you. I put barbed wire in the
I'm actually
fireplace.
gonna be a little toxic right now.
I'm on fire. Hello.
Alright, what's our strat?
Do you put your sweater on?
Yeah.
This is my strat right here.
I want to
like
prone
that.
with my shield. Here, this will protect us.
You could be a turtle. Just lay down. Yeah. You're a turtle.
Am turtle.
Reload. Turtle.
Is.
Ran away from that.
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Good spawn peek from Justin to try and take one of the devs out of action before they even get close to the building. I don't also understand what this is either. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Rainbow Six, army crawling your way to victory is not a common strategy.
Well, perhaps the strategy, as unconventional as it is intended to throw off the devs.
I mean, hey.
Sure, why not?
A lot of people say, is it stupid if it works? I don't know.
And we'll see if they can shut it down right here.
Jackal's ability is to track the footprints of defenders, and the more red a footprint is, the closer and more recent a defender has been there. Little Lexi might have been the victim, but it looks like Jenna's actually the one being tracked, and because of the fact that you have that shield in front of Jenna, you can't shoot through it. It's susceptible to utility and abilities, but you can't do anything with a gun unless, like a turtle, the underbelly of Flash is exposed. Jenna's in a very difficult position now, though, because there are frag grenades in the hands of the Finka here, so if Seb really wanted to, he could very easily put a hurt on. But here's another counter to Clash. Melee her shield, and next thing you know, he can start shooting her, but there's gonna be some team damage. That's very unfortunate, but despite the team damage, the devs will be able to do what they need to do. Beanan's on the flank, she gets one body, and will now move for a second as she controls the red stairs, which is just off site. Sees that Zofia cannot do the requisite amount of damage and will now come back. And there you go. That MX Storm isn't the best gun, but it does quite the trick.
Finishing it off with a pistol, too.
Absolutely. So now the devs, keep in mind, are on match point, and every single opportunity for the devs has fallen short. All they have left is one operator in a 1v3 with all the glory and all the bragging rights on the line. Now, keep in mind, it was the Capitao who saved the round last time.
See if we can get some heroics for the second game.
You killed Jenna Marbles and Little Lexi last time, but they're already dead, so you're going to have to essentially go for the glorified ace. And we'll find Beanans, who walks up backwards, not expecting the position of the Capitao. Here's the bigger issue. 20 seconds, the diffuser is not within reach. You'll have to go grab it. It's in the middle of the lion's den, essentially. As it's in the site, you'll have to vault on in. It's going to be very difficult. So what do? You try to cut off the rotate, you try to cut off the angles, but Justin, J9 will shut it down, and that'll be a victory for the streamers, the content creators, your favorites on the left side of the stage. Rogue Spear.
2. Oof. What do you make of that? What are you feeling? How you thinking?
I think it's...
Did you see enough in those later rounds to give you a little bit of confidence in the devs going forward as we start fresh with a clean slate?
I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you, what went wrong for the devs there. I honestly think that they weren't very aggressive. They didn't seem to be hitting their shots. I don't know if they were as coordinated. It definitely sounded like from when we listened in and what we saw that the content creators were far better in tune with one another. I think they understood
it was
exactly what
right
to
at
do
the
and
end
where to
there
come
when
from.
you heard Binam's, you know, with a few seconds left in that prep phase, like, so what's our strategy? And
win.
Yeah,
Just,
I guess that,
a lot of people say just frag out. You know,
that
like
is an
that's all you have
effective
to do.
strategy. Win.
And 7-2. I mean, you say just don't lose.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened for the
And
content
to
creators.
get more Ks than Ds.
Yeah, so with Cafe as a map, I mean, it's still too new for us to have any information as to whether or not it's more defender-sided, more attacker-sided. There's no solidified meta at all. A lot of the tactics will be developed over the next couple of weeks and months. And as we find with a lot of maps that have been in our rotation, you can find out a way to play a site, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 months later, and that can change depending on what operators come out as well, because each operator shapes the way that you can attack and defend a site. It's hard to say whether Cafe favored the attackers or defenders, because keep in mind, the devs started 6 rounds on defense. Maybe the attackers have an inherent advantage, and the devs just had a bit of misfortune with the coin toss. Who knows? But for the devs, next game, be more aggressive. Play more fragging operators, and be more aggressive. That's what they need to do, because you're playing up against a team that's going for all the content in the world, and their aggressiveness is exactly why they won 7-2.
I gotta say, like, considering how things have gone, considering how much time we have left, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the devs are gonna make a lot of noise early here, and because we won't have enough time to probably see any sort of rubber match, they're gonna end up tied. They're gonna even things out. We know we have an opportunity to see some more rainbow in a couple of days here from the show floor at E3, but you know, the devs want to save a little face at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you have essentially your opportunity for total redemption here. We're going to be playing on Cafe yet again, so you're going to have some more opportunities. To see this map, I would like to see more of the first floor bomb site. I would like to see more out of the reading room site that didn't appear, I think, at all. It might have appeared in the last round, but I couldn't exactly tell. No, because I think it didn't end up working that way in terms of site rotation. But just try something new. I mean, if you're the devs, you went to Cocktail Lounge, you know, for the umpteenth time, and it just never
What
really
you do
worked
at
for
E3.
you. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. So, for the attacker bands here, we saw both Jackal and Blitz. Now Cav will join. These are just operators that are oftentimes punishing. Jackal was really strong in the hands of Rogue Spear last time. I'm not really surprised to see the Jackal get taken out. And now you're going to have another ban, and it's going to be Alibi. So Raven Shield, the devs, saying we don't like Jackal, we don't like Alibi. They're
Respect
too
ban.
strong. Yeah.
What is that?
Respect ban. I think it's you were really good with these operators. We don't want you to use them again.
All right. Some lovely sportsmanship here.
This happens in Pro League too, right? There are teams that just have a player who is exceptional on 1 or 2 operators, and even if that operator is, you know, not the greatest when it comes to what gadget they have or what tools they have, you want to knock a player off of their comfort.
Take them out of the equation.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you have an opportunity to make them less effective. But by banning the Jackal, you've opened up Ash, who can often do Jackal's job better than Jackal, which is get in and be aggressive. And little Lexi, who's playing Sledge, is going to waste no time. She's going to be on Ash, and I would imagine we're going to see a lot of aggressiveness from her.
And we are seeing one of the 2 new operators in this one as well.
Yeah, there has been very little love for Warden so far, the best dressed man in all of Rainbow Six. And I really just think that it's the way these teams are playing. You know that the way that, you know, Rogue Spear is playing is they're aggressive, they're not bringing smokes, they're not bringing flashes the same way. Warden's ability is not that strong when you could be running other operators that will suit the playstyle of your opponents better. And like I said, make no mistake about it, Warden is going to excel in a lot of different environments when it comes to teams executing smoke and flash pushes. but that's not the way that we've seen the content creators play so far, so you don't really need him. Stock up on operators that might be a little bit better at doing what you need them to do.
You know, as you were alluding to as well, it's probably something that comes up in a scouting report when you're playing against a team that you're, a little bit more familiar with, trying to counter a particular tactic. Yeah, as you said, we just haven't seen all that much smoke.
No, and very little quick plays that involve any kind of, gadgets, etc. Lexi almost finding kill number 1 here onto the Legion, playing inside of that bar area.
It's amazing the precision of these players. I mean, again, for those who are just tuning into us here, these silhouettes that we're seeing on our monitors are not something that the players see, and their ability to sort of pick up these visual indicators that are so quick is impeccable. It's incredibly impressive.
I mean, very well practiced. These aren't pro players, but these are still people who are well above the average player. If you look at the rankings and you look at their skill levels, you look at the time played, and we've seen some pretty good individual plays, referred to as hero plays by a lot of people. Lexi doesn't
bring up Lexi.
She doesn't have an ACOG available, but she's going to swiftly take the head off of the Rook and go looking for a second, and Binans will drop Max. So right now, with the diffuser going down, there's full control from the attackers here, putting a lot of pressure on the anchor play of the Mira. She's not going to be able to do too much. You got the Vigil down below. He's a roaming operator. He's going to be playing off-site, but he's not particularly effective if you can't hold map control. And that's an aspect of this game that for people who are unfamiliar with it might not really know about or think about, is that part of the beauty here, as you see Rogue Spear very, very beautifully take round 1.
I gotta say, the composure is unreal. No celebration at all. Obviously a lot of business to still handle, but they were very effective in that first round. We do have 1 sub from the looks of it as well on the dev side.
Yeah.
They brought in a ringer from the...
you got to do something. You got to do something at this point if you're the devs, right? Because you're basically throwing everything but the kitchen sink.
And you got 2 subs, actually. Wow.
Yeah, and nothing is working right now for you. And I mean, you got to shake up team chemistry a little bit. You have a possibility that it might be detrimental. You take a step back because you're introducing new faces to your roster. This is in every single level of traditional sports. It's in esports as well. You make a roster move, you think, oh, long term it's going to work well, but short term, it might not do so great. Not enough time on the clock so far, or not enough rounds under their belts either to really say, hey, it's been a good move from the devs or not.
Yeah, and I'm going to be curious to hear, when we get to the prep phase, which is right around the corner, what the content creators, devise here. Again, they've made a lot of noise, and we'll see if they can keep applying the pressure.
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you ask in chat?
If it's live, because they had a technical problem. But they're good. It's live.
They have a Rook. Where there? Top floor.
Capcan on red stairs.
Yeah, careful of Capcan.
All right, so very little communication whatsoever. All we heard was, there's a Rook. What do you make of that?
I mean, clear comms. That's it. You got to have clear comms. You got to make sure that you're not hogging the channel. And, when you're dialed in right now, as these streamers and content creators are, then you.
This is a man who has worked with some walkie-talkies in the past.
I have walkied and I have talkied.
Both of those things.
Sometimes at the same time.
Wow,
Zach.
that's tough to do.
So, another really aggressive lineup coming out from the attackers. They've got tools at their disposal to make every single defender hurt. They've got a lot of good guns as well. And then the main operator that you're going to look at is in the hands of Jenna Marbles. She's going to be running the Finka, who has an adrenal surge, as you can see on your screen, and almost finds the very first kill for her team. Now, some of her, I guess you could say, comrades here, as she is Russian.
Oh, nice.
Are a little worse for wear. Both Justin and Little Lexi have taken a little bit of damage, but the devs have really taken a beating as well. Lexi taking up this office on Cigar Balcony, and first kill is going to come out in favor of Julian. This position that the Rook plays is so strategically valuable because You have the ability to take lots of long-range engagements, as you see exactly there, to take out B-Nans. And now is poised to possibly grab Lexi too. You can play close range, you can play short range, you can play long range, doesn't really matter. Lexi will get one down, but it's immediately traded off by SMK, and Max will have to try to crawl to victory, but Justin is in sight. He'll secure. It's a third kill for SMK, but that'll be all she wrote as he's down, and will now, his reign of terror will be over.
Got to say, you know, we were alluding to the match that's going to be coming up on Thursday here on twitch.tv/Ubisoft. I see we've got a lot of star players who are watching on in attendance. Some of the Rainbow Six star players are actually going to get a shot at some of these content creators as well, and I think that'll be a little bit closer to a level playing field here.
I mean, to be fair, I thought I would have probably given it to the devs, if I'm being completely honest with you, and that's a beautiful play. We call that the Assassin's Creed. It's when you jump over and you slap somebody with the knife. Very similar to the way that you'd see Ezio do that. But now it's going to be a glorified 1v1. There's still going to be Capcan traps in play. And Justin will meet his demise at the hands of one of the devs' gadgets left on the doorway. Use your eyes, Justin.
That's big. We need to see some of these smiles. I think that's very important. You know, again, we're trying to make sure we have some fun. Leroy, game director there, he's second from the left. At one point in the previous round, we had seen him with his head down, hand on the forehead. I'm an emotional man myself. I can't confirm if there were tears, but there was definitely something welling up.
Some moisture, perspiration, it could be.
Some sort of fluid.
Yes.
Didn't quite fall. I didn't
know what it was.
Damn.
It could have been sweat from concentration.
I gotta say though, it's nice to see Leroy smiling again as the devs get even 1-1 going into round 3, the second match.
In order to make the devs hurt, Justin is going to hit the break glass in case of emergency button.
That's Blackbeard.
He's going to bring out the Blackbeard.
Tell us a little bit more about Blackbeard.
Blackbeard is an operator who has a rifle shield, as you can see, that covers his face. So essentially, on the MK17, you'll equip this rifle shield, and it protects you from, depending on the caliber, depending on the bullet, depending on what operator it is in the distance, a couple shots to the head. And because of this, in a game where one bullet to the head is an insta-kill, it makes Blackbeard win an awful lot of fights simply by virtue of having a strong gadget.
We see Frost doubling up with some traps there.
That's a strategy that means that when you vault through the window, you're probably going to be able to shoot one of the Frost mats, but not both. And because of that, yeah, you're going to be able to take one out, but you're not going to get much farther than that. The big issue is that it's a lot of utility being expended on one window. Frost only has 3 Frost mats, and you've used 2 of them there. It will likely guarantee a kill unless the other Frost mat is destroyed. But some players will put multiple Frost mats in different locations so that it catches you off guard.
Was that window in particular a hot entry point?
Yes, it's right in the middle of the site, and a lot of players, especially when they're running out of time, will just go for a simple vault in, and they'll meet their fate at the hands of that Frost mat. But, I mean, you don't really need to vault right in when Lexi just charges into the middle of the site and takes out Leroy, as you mentioned before. She's now got control of the mirror window, and she'll eject it. Jenna, if she jumps in this window, will be absolutely destroyed from that Frost mat. There'll be an easy cleanup from the Frost playing in that area as well. So, Jenna, don't jump. Jenna.
Wise words. I will never sleep again, says
Scared.
Leroy. Yeah. Some intimidation. Oh.
Jenna opts for the secondary window, but still meets her hands at the fate of a Frost, but instead it's the barrel of Frost's shotgun, or the choke of Frost's shotgun.
Boom body, as they say. I don't know if anyone says that, actually.
I'm not entirely certain. Yeah. Julian's helping Justin out by finding every single Capcan trap, and Justin holds the diffuser, but I don't think he is aware that his team has had full control of the site. B-Nans has been downed, and if Justin doesn't see a Capcan trap, he could possibly be punished for it too. He's likely going to go pick up B-Nans, and there you have it. It'll now be a 3v2 back in favor of Rogue Spear, and B-Nan's holding that diffuser. She'll need to go plant it. Rogue Spear had control of site very early on. Little Lexi was in sight within 40 seconds. You could have gotten the diffuser down at that point.
Oh, Justin once again coming up big. One left standing on the dev side.
It's always the Capcan.
Yes, so with this 1 minute left, what do we, how much time do you think we're gonna need here?
Oh boy, this is going to be very tough for the Capkin. So he does have the advantage of Binan's on low HP, but she's not going to put herself in harm's way. See in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, no problem successfully planting that diffuser. But you've still got 1 or 2 bodies up top that are trying to watch the Capkin, along with having Justin inside of the site. And, well, he's just going to wait for the Capkin to arrive, and not entirely sure where he is or how long it'll take for him to get here. Diffuser's at the halfway point, and there you go, an engagement with Justin. He'll win it outright, but Binan's finishing him off, and that's the content creators walking away with another round.
All right, so the devs find themselves in a deficit once again, with the content creators going up 2-1. Any surprises from the roster that we're seeing? No Blackbeard?
I mean, no Blackbeard this time. I mean, Justin's going to be on another good weapon, though. It's going to be Twitch, and he's somebody who's been landing most of his shots today. Though Little Lexi has been the major story of the content creators team. For the devs, if it weren't for the individual contributions of SMK, I don't even know if they would have been able to pick up the 2 rounds they picked up so far. He's been integral to their success, and even on the rounds where they've lost, he's been the one keeping it close by being able to stop the attackers as they barrel on into the site.
Yeah, I don't want to harp too much on our man Leroy, but as game director, I'm very curious to find out how much he's going to hear from the team when he heads back home. There's still a lot of rainbow to play here, but you know, there are expectations.
It's bringing great dishonor to the dev squad that is that wants them to win, and I mean, but that's also a motivating factor, isn't it? Right? You know, if you know that you have to try and meet these expectations, well, that will imbue you with a sense of strength and determination.
All right, so now we get to dig in here. Good look at some candy canes.
Justin missing one of the tases on that shock drone. Now, Twitch's gadget, she has 2 drones that are different from all the others. It can't jump, but it can destroy gadgets and shock. And oh boy, Lexi just barrels on in, but she won't be very far. It's 2 separate members of the defense that are able to stop her in her tracks, including, as I mentioned, in the operator select phase, SMK, who has been vital for his team, and well, that's not going to change this round. I mean, it was 1 bullet that made a difference as to whether or not Lexi was able to take care of Max. She's on 1 HP, quite literally. Now, if you're an attacker, that's very perilous because there's a lot of traps that can deal a very minimal amount of damage, but it would still fall, you know, it'd be enough to belly you. One of them happens to be Legion, who ironically is the operator that's on, 1 HP. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Justin manages to Twitch drone Max, so there you go. If you're on 1 HP, the Twitch drone does 10 damage. Now make you pay, especially when you're that low. Seb's gonna get punished as Justin pulls out the FAMAS and finds his 2nd kill of the round, and will continue to go hunting. He's got the area that was being anchored down by the Legion earlier on. Take out the cameras, no problem. That information will be gone from the devs. Binance manages to stop one of the C4s going out, but she'll take some of the cover that was being provided to Leroy and remove it from the equation. Tries to go cross-body through the doorway, but won't be able to do much. 3rd kill for Justin.
You called him out before the game started, and here he is.
He's got every single kill so far in the round, and he's going to need to do more work as Julian falls. SMK will try to come in. Justin 3 kills and a successful diffuser plant, so he has literally every single member of his team at the moment. Very limited HP available. He's got about 20 to work with. Both of the guns that are remaining will kill him in 1 hit if they're close enough. He's going to lie prone and watch the doorway as the diffuser will continue to tick down, so this time limit for the defenders will be a harder hill to climb, and Justin will not be able to grab another. So he will finish at 3, and Jenna Marbles will need to try and hold it for her team. No, she won't be able to do so. So the devs will need to get to the diffuser in time. It's a 7-second disable, and there will be no worries here whatsoever. So we'll be tied back up, as there's still plenty of time on that diffuser for the defenders to be able to disable it, and Raven Shield will take round 4.
Saw a big smile on Guillaume's face who's at the far end of the row on the camera, closest to us as far as the devs go, and you know, there we go. We got that laughter there. I think they've started to loosen up here in this second match.
It's a prevailing opinion in Pro League that when a team comes in and plays with essentially all the weight off of their shoulders, they tend to play better. And I mean, for the devs, you lost your first game in a pretty definitive way. You bounce back, you play for fun, and hey, if we play fun and, you know, we play loose, maybe good things will happen. You've already doubled your score and kept it a lot closer than you did last time. Little Lexi giving a shout out to her father, Epi, and his Craig Robinson.
It was his birthday yesterday, I believe.
You know what? It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Craig. Wherever you may be. Epi is Lexi's father. And I'm sure he's a proud dad, seeing the fact that she won game 1.
East side pillar, yeah, they're gonna look down through the floor.
Okay.
Vigil on lasers.
They open that east window.
I like this cam, Lexi.
It's good.
He's gonna
like
jump
that?
out.
That's
Is
really
that
good.
for real? Is he gonna jump
I
out?
think he's putting a mine on the window itself.
I am the bomb.
Oh, they're watching from below. They're definitely gonna play from below, like second floor.
Yeah, they might be looking to C4 that hatch.
For sure.
And here we go once again with the content creators on the attack, trying to get that edge that they are so used to having throughout the day.
Once again, this is going to be the story that we've seen through map 1, and it's going to continue on here through map 2, and it's just that you're going to be going with operators that bring the pain. Lexi's going to spot a couple feet of the Mira and send some airmail down in, but no, she cooks it a little bit too much.
Wasn't worth shooting the toe?
Not quite. I mean, a grenade is a kill if you can land it close enough, and for Lexi, she gambled, and it wasn't an appropriate decision, I think, but so be it. Both frag grenades went out, and one of them just took a little bit too long. At least the position of the Mira was given away, so you know there's going to be somebody playing in that bar back storage room.
Lost the drone, but it seemed to be effective enough, spotting a couple of operators' locations.
Yeah, there's still a drone up now that has the Rook under watch, too, so a lot of teams, as I was mentioning in map number 1, will save drones for the middle to later portion of a map when your execute is going to come out, because that info is often more valuable than it is on the onset of a round. You're going to use a drone for your entry fraggers to be able to get in and get a kill, and that's what's going to be very crucial, but through the mid-round, you need to know where the remaining defenders are, because as attackers, you usually have some kind of gadget or utility to try and flush them out, and the drone is just a small piece of that.
Oh, there we go. First kill. Little Lexi with 2.
Absolutely beautiful, and I think she knows she has another 3 kills for Lexi.
She definitely has some fans in attendance, too.
That's Max that'll silence her, though, just as we saw a great effort from Justin on the previous round. And it's going to be the ACOGs that will just not be effective for the defenders, whether they're in the hands of a Doc or a Rook. The content creators will take another round, and, well, they've been back and forth pretty consistently, but
Julian's dancing. He's got the funk in his veins at this point.
The man is happy to be here.
Yeah. Stretching it out, feeling pretty good. This is Ubisoft Live at E3. We are coming to you with tons of star players in the audience here, and we have devs versus content creators here on day 1 at the LA Convention Center. How are you feeling so far, Parker?
I feel pretty good. I mean, it's very hot. As a Canadian, I mean, like we mentioned before, we are both from Toronto, you and I. We are used to humidity, but boy, it has been quite toasty here so far. Bless.
Los Angeles is something fierce.
Air conditioning, bless. I've been trying to do lots of walking. I believe I have been burned by the sun.
How
are you doing?
I'm feeling great. Trying to stay hydrated. That's always a challenge here at E3.
Very important.
Yep. Stay hydrated.
You know, these convention centers can be very dry.
Is this the first time we've seen Jaeger today?
No, we've seen him a couple times.
All
we
right.
saw him in a round or two ago.
Okay, then. I missed that gadget.
Yes. Stop worrying about grenades now. For those folks that might not know all the operators, Jaeger, there you go. We're going to give you a ride along here in the perspective of Jaeger. It's called ring necked. It's actually called an ADS. Basically, what you do with it is you put it down, like such, and it'll stop 2 throwables or 2 projectiles. So if you're sitting next to one and somebody throws a frag grenade at you, it'll zap the frag grenade and, well, it's gone. If somebody throws a flashbang at you, it'll zap the flashbang and it's gone.
It's gone.
As Jaeger says, and as I said just a couple seconds ago, you can stop worrying about grenades now. It's one of the most popular operators as well in the game. He's got a good kit, he's got a great gun. He's a 3-speed, which makes him the fastest. He's very mobile. All in all, not a bad choice ever. Not sure where that grenade was going from Lexi, but it does not find a target at all. She went fishing and comes back hooking.
With a boot.
Yep. But B-Nance is there to take out the Amira, who was playing right by the bomb chassis. I'm very much questioning that decision to be sitting out in the open as Mira was. Keep in mind there is a skylight above these defenders where they can get shot from.
Yeah, it looks like the attackers are trying to find their spot, and right now coming up empty.
Justin's actually going to catch one. And, he missed the first couple shots, but he corrects after that. They'll know that he's playing on the red hatch, but this is another opportunity for the lead to continue to stretch. B-Nance taking out Mac. She's been formidable on this Ash. Now she's got control inside of washroom of the mirror window. Justin finds his second, and while it's a flawless round, that's 2 kills for B-Nance, 2 kills for Justin. Lexi will tie a nice bow on that one.
Spanking all around.
It was indeed a spanking.
So he was dancing before. Now the smiles have finally come out for the content creators who were, playing it cool. I think again, it's a matter of loosening up. B-Nance with the big smile there as well. I think they're feeling pretty good at this point. Early threats from the devs. Now it's our content creators who are sitting pretty with a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, and I mean, you're not smiling. You're winning. You got to be smiling. Justin with 11 kills. My goodness. That's a thing of beauty, and he by himself is only about a half dozen kills off of all of the devs' kills alone.
Oh.
That's a pretty impressive number to be at. So, but we mentioned the side swap in game number 1. It's worth mentioning it now as well. So the devs escaped at a 1-5 deficit on the previous defense. This time it's a 2-4 deficit. So it's a little better, but not by that much. It's now going to be up to the content creators on defense, and they were by no means slouches last time.
See, Warden is back in play once again.
Thank you, Julian, for bringing him out. Nice
to get a look at the new operators.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what's being brought from the attackers, Warden's not going to be particularly helpful. I mean, and that's the thing with him, right? Barring the fact that there are potentially 6 smokes on the board for the attackers, there isn't an awful lot that you could see possibly, that Warden would need his gadget for. He can see their smoke, so like I said, that's going to be important, but you're not going to have to worry about flashes or anything like that. Depending on the way that the devs play this, he could end up being quite strong. So if I can contradict myself for a second, if they unleash all of their smokes at the same time, well, he can be pretty good. But as you can see in the hands of the Fuse, there's no smoke. So at best, there might only be 4. I didn't catch a glimpse of what Dokkaebi has. We're just gonna wait, patiently wait.
We have a bit of action waking them up there.
This interesting mirror window strat that Lexi has that we saw Julian doing last time around. It's going to be a different role. Bit of a role reversal. Lexi's found immediately, and Julian taking so much damage. He has to avoid that fire, but it will continue to grow and spread in his direction.
There we go.
There's another firebolt that's going to go off, and there's no rest for the Wicked at all. Down goes Julian. He gets cut down and cut out of action.
Trying to see through it ends up getting burnt out.
I mean, it's not like it's going to be obscuring your vision, but I think he activated it in hopes of it helping. It didn't at all. Beanans will take out SMK, so the Capitao, who's you saw use his utility get utilized earlier, he just would have been a gun at that point, and well, he's not going to be anything at all. You still have one cluster charge left as well for Fuse, and this is essentially a gadget that shoots out 5 pucks, and they explode, like the good grenades that they are. Unpredictable often, and catching people off guard is the name of the game for Fuse, but against a team that is experienced as the defenders are, I don't necessarily know how beneficial it will be. It's a second kill for Beanans though, as she takes Max down. It's gonna be a hot breach for Seb, who just goes right into Cigar Lounge. Doesn't have the PMM at hand, he's got the GSH, this is a different gun that's available for Fuse. Justin taking the life of here to be Dokkaebi, and then, or possibly even the Nomad, and Beanans will get kill number 3. It's all going to be up to the shield Fuse, and oh my, this is a lot of damage.
Oh.
Jenna Marbles will be credited with the kill, and Rogue Spear will continue to stretch their lead. They're now 2 rounds off of claiming map 2.
And matching their score from map 1.
That is correct.
7-2 win over there, and again, everyone's feeling pretty good, having fun. That's the name of the game at this point. I think, again, we knew that this wasn't necessarily going to be the most competitive, but we do have the devs who are really trying to find their stride once again. They came out hot, took a couple of rounds early, and it's been all devs since breaking that 2-2 draw.
Devs are going to try something different. They're going to bring a different shield this time. They're going to go with the Montaigne instead of the Fuse, and essentially what this does is it's going to give you an operator whose fully extendable shield functions very similarly to Clash. So we saw the Clash on defense. She's the shield operator who can slow you down. Montaigne, he's not going to slow you down, but you can't knock his shield away the same way that you can a Clash. So there's going to be less tools at your disposal to take care of the Montaigne as a defender than there is as an attacker to take care of a Clash, if you're following along.
And we do see Julian once again taking Warden. Clearly he's trying to learn the operator, get a feel for some of the strengths, some of the advantages that he may find. Didn't fare so well the last time.
No.
But, you know, practice.
Not the way that he wanted it, I'm sure, but like I said, it really depends on the composition of the attackers and what they bring to the table. In this instance, you once again have the opportunity for 6 smokes. And so the Capitao will have 2 smokes in his crossbow, and then both the Dokkaebi as well as Montaigne might have smokes equipped. That really comes down to the loadout that the attackers chose. I mean, smokes tend to be the smarter choice there. So if I'm them, I would highly recommend running smoke grenades when available. And you'd mentioned Jaeger. There's no Jaeger on the board for defense, so you don't have to worry about those smokes getting caught by his gadget. It's a run out from Justin. We saw it last map on Valkyrie, but he's going to do it this time with a bit of greater range, having that ACOG in his hands with the dock. Not exactly sure what the devs are trying to do here. So the bomb site is on the 2nd floor, but they're trying to clear from the 1st floor, and Lexi's going to go for a vault out. It's ill-advised, as the Nook is just waiting. Guns Lexi down. The Soul Hard Breacher taken out, so both teams will lose 1 body. But here's a secondary ability from Dokkaebi. She can hack your cameras. And now, all of the intel that the defenders have is also available to the attackers too. This could be good for the devs, and how they play this over the next 30 seconds could be able to crack this round open for them. But there's still a lot of hesitation on their part. I don't think they know exactly what their next move is going to be. They still haven't really been able to breach the defenses here at all, and they're very confused as to where they're going to attack from.
Beanans and Justin combining to get a couple of kills and really take the advantage here, 4-2.
So I'd said what happens over the next 20 seconds is going to be crucial, and I think that possibly could spell disaster, especially now that the Montaigne is one of the people that's been eliminated. You need that shield in a 2vx scenario to try and give you a better fighting chance, especially when the gadget that we're going to see from Nook here is mostly just going to be for fragging. There's not going to be a lot of opportunity to try and move these defenders out of the way, except with this asphyxiating bolt, that there's 1 left in the crossbow of Capitao. You still got a lot of time here, but he's going to be the only one left. And if you're the content creators here, if you're the defenders, you collapse on the remaining windows because you know there's only so many ways in. And with that, you're going to be extremely vulnerable as an attacker. You're going to be twisting in the wind. And Jenna Marbles, yet again.
Oh.
It's the last kill.
She loves that last kill.
She loves it. She loves getting the last kill of the round. And it's match point in favor of the content creators yet again. 6-2.
Yeah, Jenna Marbles' kill count is not all that high, but it seems that a lot of the kills she does get are the ones that will end the match.
Impact frags, as we call them. You might not be top fragging, but the kills you're getting are crucial for your team. Last game, she saved 2 rounds by herself. This time around, yeah, you know what? She's only got 3 kills, but they've been highly impactful. And because of this,
we call those impact kills.
Okay. I haven't heard that one before. Could this be our last round at play? See the debut of Gridlock. So Montana will come out yet again for the attackers. Gridlock is one of the newer operators. She just came in the patch that was released, or the content that was released prior to Operation Phantom Sight. And essentially, with Gridlock, you know, Burnt Horizon, she and Mozzie were added to the game. Mozzie, a defender, he can capture your drones. As for the attacker, and there he is, right there, Mozzie. He shoots out this little spider, and the spider jumps on the drone. And now the drone, which is usually for the attackers, is for the defenders. And there you go. Look at that. It's this little spider friend. Gridlock throws out these traps that continue to spread and are essentially anti-flank gadgets. It's
They
not
cover
for
a lot of
defenders.
ground.
They cover
Yeah.
quite a lot of ground. So, possible final round here. And would you expect the content creators to be extremely aggressive? Because I would be. Throwing Valkyrie cameras outside will give you the intel on where the attackers are going to be coming from. And Justin has been the man to try and capitalize off of that information, along with P-Nans, as they've been breaking out of the windows as they see fit. It's going to be another entry towards the bakery, that bottom floor from the devs, as they'll tread on in. And we're going to get a good look at the very first bakery defense. But Max taking some friendly fire damage as already
there it is.
All of these tracks getting thrown out. Justin will cut down the Blackbeard and get finished off those. So they'll trade that one out. Continue to have Max push on in, and all those little stinger traps that you see behind the shield here will be a major nuisance for the defenders when they go to retake.
That's cutting off almost the entire room right there.
You have 2 or 3 of them that got thrown out there. There are 3 available for Gridlock. Devs will continue to try to prevent this from being over too quickly as Binance falls. And then you'll go on drone work for the defenders. So you saw that one of the drones had been hacked by Julian here. He's going to try to battle the Montane, and I don't know why Max decides to lower his shield, but it will be his undoing. We'll give Julian an opportunity for a second kill. He'll find it on his Seb. Go for the reload, and oh no, it's all up to SMK. And it's a very quick one. That's 2 in a row for the content creators, and Rogue Spear undefeated.
Shut it down. 7-2, 7-2.
Vanquishing the devs on their home turf.
My goodness. And it looks like we do have Karen Lee, community developer, who's going to be checking in with our winners. Karen, set the scene. What's the vibe? How we feeling? Oh, we're going to check in with Karen very shortly, as a matter of fact. But all right, what did you see from there? Any big surprises? I mean, you know, we were talking pretty much throughout the day that we were expecting a lot from the content creators, perhaps expected a little bit more from the devs, but in the end, you know, some high fives, shaking hands, everyone's feeling good. It's, you know, it's a good game of Rainbow.
I thought the devs would do better. I didn't expect them to lose 7-2, 7-2, I'll be honest with you. I actually, coming into this, thought the devs would win. I thought that the devs were going to do very well. And I think they probably let themselves down. Yeah. Content creators worked really well and effectively as a team. And you saw a lot of missteps from the devs there in regards to how they were playing, as to how they coordinated and what they brought to the field. You know, it's really admirable that the content creators were able to win using fragging operators, because they weren't as utility heavy as the devs were. But sometimes utility, it doesn't matter on the scoreboard.
Get the Ks however you can. All right, let's check in with community developer Karen Lee, who joins us with the winning content creators.
All right, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And we've got a few questions for the winning team, Team Rogue Spear. Congratulations once again, guys. And I just have a quick question for you guys. Like, knowing that you guys have played together before, this is not your first time, how do you think that helped your performance today?
I think it helped with the synergy. It helped make sure nobody became bears today. That was a worry with the bear traps.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, there was definitely a lot of coordination there, and I'm really glad to see all of that happen live here. Now, are you guys happy with your team's performance today?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome, awesome. And now, okay, one last question, and feel free, anyone can take this. How does it feel to beat the devs at their own game?
It feels good to beat them this year. I think that they played really well, but it feels nice to beat them at their own game for sure.
They put up a good fight. We hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I'm going to throw you guys back to Zach and Parker so they can close things off.
Well, there it is. Feels good to beat the devs at their own game. Staying cool about it, not throwing it back in their faces. But, I mean, clearly that was a one-sided affair.
Act like you've been there, right? And that's exactly what they did. Content creators, they also, for most of that team, they won in Twitch Rivals yesterday on Team T-Pain. So they've got the taste of victory. They want to keep that going. So beating the devs at their own game quite literally, I like just sneaking that on in there. Great job to them.
You know, a lot of them will be back again on Thursday when we group for another show match. Again, it'll be some of those content creators against some of our star players, which should be fun. We certainly hope you join us for that. That'll be Thursday. We have plenty more to come tomorrow as well. And obviously, Parker, thank you for doing this.
Thank you for joining me.
Certainly carried it, and we appreciate that very much. You know, for those in attendance and those watching, we also have something that we're sort of working on. We know a lot of our viewers, particularly on the Ubisoft channel, are trying to get into games, and that's something that is very big for us. Ubisoft is a big family with over 40 studios, and we take pride in the family that we've grown, and we're certainly looking to bring more people in and trying to find ways to, you know, give people the opportunities to understand how we make games. There's a campaign going on called Create the Unknown, and actually right nearby here, if you are in attendance here at E3 at Figueroa and 11th, right beside Staples Center until 7 o'clock tonight, you know, Ubisoft is giving away some free ice cream. They got this interesting personality test going on right now where they ask you some questions, figure out sort of what intrigues you, what motivates you, what your challenges are, and they try to find you a match in games, a career path that could perhaps open the door to getting you in the industry as well. So it's a very unique opportunity, and at the very least you get some free ice cream.
Who doesn't like
so
that?
Again, yes, that is at the corner of Figueroa and 11th. Check it out. It's also going on tomorrow between 12 and 6. If you are not in attendance, if you're watching on the stream, and certainly you're looking for an opportunity to join the Ubisoft family, you can check out jobs.ubisoft.com. It is Create the Unknown. Join the family. Should be a lot of fun. Parker, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
It was a lot of fun as well. Thank you. This has been Ubisoft Live at E3.
Developed for gamers who want the best.